Hi everyone, please subscribe to my channel. Blood Immortal. See playlist for other chapters and novels. Join now our Telegram channel now and enjoy exclusive early access. t.me/blood_immortal_official. I do not translate the novels. Credits goes to original translator and author of the novel. I only make it as an audiobook so it would be easier to just listen while doing other things. Credits goes to the author of the novel. I convert stories to audiobook for mental health, for multitasking purpose, for accessibility and time saving. Listening to audiobook is also beneficial for people who have disability. It improves our listening skills and improve our English comprehension, vocabulary and other things. So, thank you for listening. Thank you and thank you very much for your support. Chapter 641. How could you guys not recognize a god standing before you? Chapter 641. How could you guys not recognize a god standing before you? It's not someone from the ancient race, but we would do to be careful still. Got it, senior sister. ... The masses nodded their heads as they focused all of their attentions warily on this person who was arriving. In the ancient saint world, the ancient race wasn't the only danger around. Even if it were someone from the thousands of races, there was a danger associated with them as well. Otherwise, there wouldn't be syndicates such as the Evil Alliance and such. Compared to the ancient race, these syndicates weren't any better off. They were one crueler than the other, snatching and killing anyone on sight. Lin Fan looked at the group of people who were standing before the chaotic current void right now. A single glance was enough for him to know that their cultivation states weren't all that high. Hence, he didn't put it to heart. Furthermore, Lin Fan could tell that there weren't any evil auras surrounding these people. Naturally, he didn't take them as bad people then. When Lin Fan descended, he looked over at them. On the other hand, they were thoroughly fixated on checking him out. They couldn't tell. They realized that they just couldn't see through the cultivation state of this fella before them. In fact, even his aura was hidden entirely from detection. It was as though he was just any other commoner. You guys don't have to be so worried. I'm not a bad person. Looking at how these people were keeping guard against him, Lin Fan was pretty speechless. Yours truly looked so suave and dashing. How could he possibly look like a bad person at all? No bad person will ever claim themselves to be one. Yi Dao hid behind his senior sister and blurted this sentence out. "Oh, senior sister, why did you stamp on my feet?" The moment he spouted these words, his senior sister stomped down on his feet. Towards this retard of a junior brother, she was totally helpless. "This is my junior brother here. He's inept at speaking, please don't blame him," Qian Shui replied with an apologetic tone. "It's fine." Lin Fan waved his hand dismissively, not bothered in the least bit. He then turned his gaze towards this chaotic current void before him. Looking at how the other party was staring straight at the chaotic current void, Qian Shui spoke up with a kind reminder, "This is the chaotic current void. Within it lies an extremely strong destructive force. If you don't have any item to protect yourself with, it's really hard to get through it." "Yup, indeed, I can sense the metal chi within this chaotic current void. If one's cultivation state is too weak, they wouldn't have the power to make it through at all. The moment they enter, they would most likely be shredded." Lin Fan could tell through the entire chaotic current void with a single look. However, to Lin Fan, this chaotic current void was something that was negligible. It wasn't anything that was difficult to deal with. When he looked at it, the only reason for doing so was to check out where the connate metal element was located or hidden. This sort of detection method which could ignore this chaotic current void entirely as well was pretty earth-shattering and shocking. However, Qian Shui and the others naturally could not tell what he was doing. They garnered that he must just be contemplating about how to get through this chaotic current void, and that was all. "We're disciples of the Vastness sect. This is my big senior brother, Wu Tianai. These are my junior brothers and sisters. May I know of your name, sir?" Qian Shui introduced the masses and asked Lin Fan. Lin Fan chuckled. "Brother Lin, this time around for our expedition, we have brought with us multiple objects that could help us tide through this chaotic current voids. If you need them, we can give some of them to you." Qian Shui continued. "My thanks for your kind gesture. But, I won't need them. Even though this chaotic current void may bring with it a destructive amount of power, it isn't much of an issue for me." Lin Fan waved his hands while smiling. Even though these guys were wary of him, he'd got to admit that they were pretty friendly. There were many sects in the ancient saint world. Many of the beings of the thousands of races would open up sects so that they could protect their fellow comrades. Wu Tianai and Qian Shui exchanged a look with one another. They did not know why the other party would harbor such confidence. However, they did not let out any weird looks on their faces. So, what are you guys here to look for? I can try to keep it for you guys later on. This time around, Lin Fan was prepared to swipe the entire place clean. However, these guys seemed nice. Therefore, Lin Fan did not mind leaving some items for them. After all, they were all comrades of the thousands of races. He ought to look after them a little. The disciples of the Vastness sect did not know what this guy meant by his words. However, they still replied, "Our sect has a sword skill that requires the metal chi. Hence, we're here to seek it out." Oh, even though the metal chi is pretty decent, it's still pretty low tier. Why haven't you guys considered seeking out the connate element of metal? Lin Fan chuckled. To Lin Fan's standards, while the metal chi could be considered okay, it was really far too weak compared to the connate metal element. Brother Lin, the connate metal element has developed a consciousness of its own and has a strong cultivation state. It's not something we can take as and when we like to. Furthermore, the connate metal element lies within that entire sea of metal, with countless guardians surrounding it. I'm afraid we might be killed by those guardians before we can even get to approach the sea of metal. Wu Tianai did not see this as something disgracing to admit. After all, the connate metal element was something really strong to begin with. It was well known that amongst the 5 elements, the connate metal element wielded the most destructive powers. Even if it were a powerful being of divine celestial level 5 or 6, they might not have the confidence to say that they could be able to obtain the connate metal element, let alone people like them. Since we're all beings of the thousands of races, how about you guys just stand here and wait for me a little bit? I'll go and grab some for you guys. No matter what, the metal chi is pretty substandard to be honest. If you have a skill that requires you to make use of the metal chi, you've definitely got to go at it with the one with the strongest destructive powers. You can't make up quality with quantity. Lin Fan smiled as he walked forth. The disciples of the Vastness sect did not know what this man was trying to do. Shui Qian felt that this man did not know his place at all and had an element of bullshasterisk tting to him instead. Wu Tianai just frowned with his brows. He did not know what sort of a background this man would have to say words as such. As for the other disciples, they snorted a little. They felt that Lin Fan was just lying through his nose entirely. "It's all right, I don't think you've got to do that," Wu Tianai replied out of courtesy. However, he knew that he would never believe Lin Fan's words no matter what. However, at this moment, Yi Dao was the one who looked at Lin Fan and had his brows creasing. It was as though he was remembering something. With that, his brows smoothened out as he stood forth. "Big brother Lin, my big senior brother wants it," Yi Dao declared. That was typical Yi Dao, bringing on big brother into his words. This was a man who was familiar with the art of sucking up and making connections. "Junior brother Yi," Wu Tianai was a little displeased. However, just as he was going to continue, he was held back by Yi Dao. "So, I'll have to bother you to bring for us some connate metal element, alright, big brother Lin." Yi Dao continued. Lin Fan looked at Yi Dao keenly, then grinned, "Sure, no problem." Right at this moment, something that shocked the bejabbers out of everyone present happened. Lin Fan opened his mouth wide. Immediately, a gigantic suction force came forth from his mouth, causing the entire chaotic current void to be devoured by him entirely. With that, the vast and boundless chaotic current void disappeared without a trace from the face of the world. As for Lin Fan, he burped before disappearing in a flash from where he stood in the blink of an eye. How is that possible? Everyone from the Vastness sect was absolutely flabbergasted. They could not believe that someone had just swallowed the entire chaotic current void in a single mouthful. This. Wu Tianai was even more stumped than anyone else. To him, this was way out of his wildest imagination. This was the epitome of horror. "Big senior brother, senior sister. What sort of a poor taste do you guys have? How could you guys not have recognized a god standing before us? This is simply way too regrettable. If not for the fact that I was smart, you guys would have trampled onto the benevolence of a god." Yi Dao replied exasperatedly. "This is especially so for our big senior brother. The god himself had spoken up that he was going to bring some connate metal element for you. To think that you would turn down his offer. Really, now, if I weren't this smart, we would have been left with nothing." "Junior brother Yi, you know who he is?" Qian Shui turned her head around and asked blankly. "Of course, don't you guys?" Yi Dao looked at his senior sister suspiciously. "No, I don't. Who is he?" Qian Shui was bewildered right now in her heart. This junior brother of hers had always been inside the Vastness sect. How could he have any friends outside? Yi Dao tossed his robes aside and grinned with a slight smile. All right. All of you have got to listen up now. And don't start yelling out, all right. Hurry up and tell us. Chapter 642, A Road of Oppression. Chapter 642, A Road of Oppression. Wu Tianai, Qian Shui, and the others were filled with curiosity right now. They wondered just who this person was. Furthermore, by the looks of Yi Dao's face, this guy seemed like a serious big shot. Alright, all of you better listen up well. Don't get so startled that you can't even speak later on. Yi Dao felt that he had to build up the mood right now. Therefore, he fake coughed a little. Hurry up, stop mystifying this deliberately. Junior brother, if you're not going to say it, then don't blame your senior sister here for resorting to extreme measures to have you spouted out later on. Shui Qian's face sterned up. It was as though something bad was going to happen to Yi Dao if he continued hiding stuff. Alright, I'll say. Gosh, why do you guys have to be so bad? Yi Dao was kind of exasperated right now. It was all because he was way too weak personally that he was being bullied right now. Tisk. This man, at the very beginning, I did not recognize who he was either. However, I felt that he was someone really familiar. The more I looked and recalled, wasn't this man that Mother *C King Human King, Lin Fan? Yi Dao explained. The Mother *C King Human King, Lin Fan. Everyone had yet to react to this news and was searching the back of their minds for this name. Ah, now that Yi Dao had made it so clear, if anyone still didn't get it, they would probably have to be brain dead. Shui Qian's face changed abruptly into one of disbelief. What? He's the Mother *C King Human King, Lin Fan. That peerlessly strong powerful being. Wu Tianai's face was pale right now. He looked at Yi Dao in some regret. I rejected his kind offer earlier on. Yes, looking at how frighteningly pale the face of his big senior brother was right now, Yi Dao chuckled in his heart. However, he still nodded his head with a serious look on his face. Big senior brother, back when I heard you refusing the goodwill gesture of this supreme god, I nearly pissed my pants. However, your junior brother here has managed to salvage the situation for you. Don't worry about it, you don't have to be nervous anymore. Yi Dao replied casually. Even though his strength wasn't comparable to theirs, his knowledge of the world was far greater than them. Catching sight of the expression on the face of her big senior brother, Qian Shui could not help but console him as well. Big senior brother, I'm sure the Mother *C King Human King would not take this to heart. Don't you think so, junior brother Yi? Yes, senior sister is right. How could the Mother *C King Human King possibly mind things like this? Yi Dao nodded his head in agreement. Then, when the Mother *C King Human King returns later on, what should we do? Wu Tianai was starting to calm down right now. However, he was still slightly nervous about everything that happened. The Mother *C King Human King was someone who was bloody damn famous in the ancient saint world. Back then during that duel, even though it wasn't way too intense, everyone had still witnessed the utmost being, cruel, dying in the hands of the Mother *C King Human King. To the beings of the thousands of races, this was an event that was thoroughly invigorating and inspiring. At this moment, everyone turned their gazes towards their junior brother Yi. It was as though junior brother Yi was their support right now. Looking at the gazes that landed on him from his senior brothers and sisters, Yi Dao could not help but puff up his chest slightly. According to my observation, the way the Mother *C King Human King was talking to us with such a calm and peaceful tone means that he is someone who doesn't hanker after fame. I'm sure he doesn't want others to know who he is at all. Therefore, when the Mother *C King Human King comes out later on, we must continue to act as we have done so. We mustn't let out any unusual looks on our faces. Highs. The Mother *C King Human King could be considered as the new age idol of the entire ancient saint world. To think that we would have such luck to meet with him even once today. If we were to let the world know of this in the future, it would be a prideful event for us indeed. At this moment, Yi Dao was really emotional as well. This was the first time he had realized how witty he was. Everyone in the surroundings nodded their heads silently as well. They felt that the words of their junior brother Yi made sense. Therefore, this would be how they would approach the situation later on. Within the secret grounds, Lin Fan's path forward was one filled with oppression. This secret ground that was filled with the connate metal element was something that the ancient race couldn't control at all. After all, there was a natural defense mechanism of the chaotic current void at the entrance. That thing did not show any form of favoritism to anyone, shredding anyone who couldn't withstand its might into pieces if they had dared to enter. Living being, this isn't a place you should be at. Hurry up and leave. Suddenly, a furious voice rang from a bunch of metal spirits within that sea of metal. Each one of them shone with a brilliant golden glow and an edged aura, slicing through everything. It was as though even the void could be cut cleanly by them. The metal spirits here possessed an extraordinary strength. However, just like every other living being, they had a leader as well. At the back of a bunch of metal spirits, an extremely strong metal spirit draped in metal armor stood there, wielding a longsword with an extremely sharp aura, ready to slice through everything. What a strong living being! Amongst the 5 elements, the living beings that were born from the connate metal element are probably the strongest ones. They're practically seeking battles. The moment Lin Fan approached the sea of metal, he could sense a sharp aura edging out towards him. If it were anyone with a lower cultivation state, they might have already been turned into a beehive by now. However, Lin Fan could practically just ignore these sharp aura negligibly. They didn't do any damage to him at all. Lin Fan strode out and grabbed with his palm. With a loud explosion, the void broke over as he grabbed at these metal spirits. The metal spirits growled in anger. However, under Lin Fan's grab, they couldn't resist at all and were converted into pure connate metal element. Based on Lin Fan's strength right now, these spirits were akin to mere ants. There wasn't even a single way they could fight back at all. In the ancient saint world, there weren't many people who required the connate 5 elements for their cultivation. Even if some skills were to require them, they would only require a little of it. However, to Lin Fan, the breakthrough of the demon city was imperative. Therefore, the amount of connate 5 elements he required was as vast as the seas. If he didn't take in all of them, it wouldn't be enough to satiate him. And, just as Lin Fan had cleared this bunch of metal spirits, an extremely shrill sound rang out from behind him. The sound transformed into a relentless sharp sword that bolted out at Lin Fan. Damned living being, how dare you massacre my people? In the depths of this sea of metal, there was a palace that stood upright. From there, a 10,000 feet tall golden-colored giant howled out. Divine Celestial Level 5, Essence Spirit State. For any of the connate 5 elements, this was considered to be an extremely strong living being. N-O-V-E in .c ohm. I'm just borrowing you guys for a need of mine. Lin Fan did not hesitate as he sent out a palm strike immediately, causing the entire place to tremble under it. The demon city revolved with the big ancient demon's descent into the world. Opening his gigantic mouth, a boundless amount of energy rippled out into the entire place. His single breath could swallow mountains and rivers as that endless amount of energy surged out. With that, the entire secret grounds began to vibrate intensely. All of you shall come and turn into a part of your majesty here. The big ancient demon's eyes shone with a bright glint as he started swallowing continuously. Based on Lin Fan's current cultivation state, killing these connate elemental spirits was as easy as killing an ant, nothing challenging at all. Connate metal element shall live and breathe relentlessly. The Tao of endless fighting of metal. Slay. At this moment, the golden giant couldn't take it any longer as he rushed over with his sword raised. That gigantic body surged through the entire secret ground with a bright shimmering blade that was relentless. However, by the time it came to the face of the big ancient demon, he was grabbed in his hands and tossed straight into its mouth. Crack. The sound of metal being crunched sounded out as the golden giant was converted into a dense, long metal river that was eventually fused into the demon city. This place no longer needs to exist. Lin Fan opened his palm. His fingers began to extend out while the place started shrinking down. Eventually, it turned into a spot of light that was captured into Lin Fan's palms. This was the way of crushing everything with absolute strength. The masses outside did not know what was going on at all. However, they realized in shock that the entire secret grounds seemed to have disappeared before their very faces. At this moment, they caught sight of a lone figure walking out slowly. One after another, they let out a look of horror. That incredibly strong secret ground that possessed the connate element of metal. It was gone, just like that. This. Chapter 643. This saves me the effort. Chapter 643. This saves me the effort. Lin Fan had not expected to subdue the connate metal element so quickly. Amongst it, the metal spirits that were spawned from the connate element of metal were akin to ants, being taken down by him with the back of his hand without much difficulty. If this were in the past, he might have had to put in quite the bit of effort. Seemed like this was truly the advantage he had after becoming stronger. Right now within his demon city, he had already gathered 4 out of 5 of the connate 5 elements. He was down to the last one now. As long as he could find the connate element of wood and have all 5 elements functioning as one, that would be the time when the demon city would be ready to break through. Outside, the disciples of the Vastness sect were still awaiting his return. Lin Fan chuckled in his heart. How earth-shattering was that move of his earlier on? Goodness, the disciples would be sure to ask him who he was later on. By then, if he were to say out his name, that would definitely have them shocked entirely. The thought of that happening had Lin Fan filled with anticipation. Seemed like after one was strong, acting tough was something so damned pleasurable, so damned exciting. N-O-V-E in .c Om. The moment the disciples of the Vastness sect caught sight of that figure appearing from the void, they exchanged glances with one another. They nodded, understanding what they should do later on. Lin Fan placed his hands behind his back with an indifferent expression on his face, as though he had done something really casual. With his many years of experience, Lin Fan was long used to how the situation would play out at this point in time. There wasn't much to think about. He knew what he should do clearly. Lin Fan instantly arrived before the masses with a wry smile on his face, waiting for the disciples of the Vastness sect to speak up. The hearts of these disciples of the Vastness sect were filled with emotions right now. This man before them was the very mother *C King Human King. To think that such a dangerous place would have been destroyed with ease by the mother *C King Human King just like that. If they were to tell this out to the world, who would even believe them at all? Cough, cough. After waiting for a long time, Lin Fan was starting to realize that no one was speaking up at all. He was pretty exasperated. The way you guys are looking at me, could it be that you guys know who I am? He started by guiding the questions towards him. However, to his dismay, Lin Fan realized that these guys were shaking their heads. Nopes, we don't. These disciples of the Vastness sect were firmly believing in the words of their junior brother Yi. Junior brother Yi was right. The mother *C King Human King is a low-profiled god. If it were anybody else, they would definitely have thrown their names forward at the first chance. Do you really not know who I am? Lin Fan asked once more, refusing to believe that this was the case. This didn't make any sense. How could they not know of who he was at all? Nopes. The disciples of the Vastness sect shook their heads once more, indicating their ignorance. They had already agreed from the start that they would feign ignorance all the way. Lin Fan eventually sighed helplessly. He then lifted up his palm gently where a strain of the connate metal element floated. This is for you guys. The moment the connate metal element made its appearance, the disciples of the Vastness sect were entranced by it immediately. To them, the connate metal element was simply way too powerful. Just its aura alone seemed as though it was ready to slice off their skins. Even though this was only a single strain of it, the power that it possessed should not be underestimated at all. For them, this single strain was enough to help them raise their skills to a full cultivation state. After all, this was the connate metal element, something that was above the metal chi. This was the purest form of its energy. Big brother Lin, you're truly way too strong. Yi Dao commented in awe. Lin Fan smiled casually. However, he was still a little hurt in his heart. To think that no one here would know how famous he was. This was a blow of sorts to Lin Fan. I'm okay. Lin Fan wasn't too interested now as he replied with a smile. At this moment, Wu Tianai was looking at Lin Fan with much respect. However, the words of his junior brother Yi struck into his mind as he calmed down that thumping heart of his, before cusping his fists into a thanks to Lin Fan. After all, if not for the other party, he would never have gotten the connate metal element. On the other hand, Qian Shui was having some plans of her own. If she could invite the other party back to their sect, their Grand Master would definitely be most exhilarated over it. However, just as Qian Shui was about to speak up, something strange happened. The void above them that was as calm as still waters suddenly began to ripple out. The Battle Emperor sect is being attacked by the ancient race army right now. All major sects, please render your assistance. This voice that was transmitted from the void was both infuriated and anxious. It was as though they were faced with some plight that they could not escape from. Another message followed immediately after. This time around, the attack was brought forth by the sovereign King Wei, Qi, and Zheng. This is a combined attack with an ancient race army of 10 million troops by the three sovereign kings against the Battle Emperor sect. If anyone is willing to lend their help, the Battle Emperor sect will definitely be most grateful. What's going on? The moment Lin Fan heard this voice, he was puzzled. This is a skill that allows one to transmit their voices by breaking through the worlds. Amongst the thousands of races, when sects are about to be faced with annihilation by the ancient race, they would seek out help from others. Qian Shui replied calmly. Are you guys always coming across such situations? Looking at how calm everyone was looking, Lin Fan asked suspiciously. Yes. While they may occur at times, it would be rare for anyone to render their assistance. After all, the ancient race is simply way too strong. This is especially the case when the ancient race army gathers. That's even more frightening. Most of the other sects aren't even able to protect themselves, let alone attract more attention to themselves. Qian Shui replied. To think that there would be 3 sovereign kings who would head out as such. What has the Battle Emperor sect done? Wu Tianai remarked in disbelief. The power of the 3 sovereign kings was formidably horrific. Furthermore, the Battle Emperor sect was just a small, weak sect. How could they possibly defend against this? This voice was only transmitted to a vicinity of a small radius within the ancient saint world. At the start, when some of the beings of the thousands of races heard this voice, they were infuriated and wanted to head forth to lend their help. However, the moment they heard that there were going to be 3 sovereign kings, they calmed down immediately. They knew that they would only be sending themselves to their own deaths even if they were to head over. Looking at the ripples in the void, Lin Fan's heart was gaining some ripples of his own. 3 sovereign kings at one go. This was going to save him quite the bit of hassle. Based on Lin Fan's original plan, he had wanted to gather the connate 5 elements first to raise his strength before going over to reap the sovereign king way. But right now, his personal power level had already received the boost that he had wanted from the start, and was strong enough now. Even if the sovereign king were to appear before him right now, he wouldn't be afraid at all. Senior sister, it's the Battle Emperor sect. Yi Dao was still smiling cheekily at the start. However, upon hearing the world-crossing voice transmission, he began shivering from head to toe. Qian Shui and Wu Tianai exchanged glances with one another. Their eyes shimmered with helplessness. They knew why their junior brother Yi was reacting like this. Junior brother, regarding this matter, don't think about it any longer. Wu Tianai commented regrettably. Even if the entire vastness sect were to head over, they would only be fodder for the ancient race. But, my wife's there. Yi Dao was starting to panic right now. Even though this wife of his didn't really like him that much, she was still his wife no matter what. Junior brother, even if all of us were to head over, it's useless. 3 sovereign kings, 10 million troops worth of an ancient race army. It would take a blink of an eye for them to annihilate the Battle Emperor sect. Qian Shui tried persuading him. This was an issue that they had no power over. Even if they wanted to lend their help, they didn't have anything they could do at all. Just at this moment, Yi Dao dropped to the floor in a thud. He started kowtowing and begging frantically. Mother *C King Human King. Please help me, please. I'm begging you, you must, please. You know me. Lin Fan chuckled in his heart. That downer of a mood he had earlier on was swept clean instantly. Yes, I do, yes, yes, Yi Dao replied hurriedly. Ha ha, Lin Fan burst out laughing. Using his hand to cut open the void, he started tracing back to this world-crossing voice transmission skill. What's the name of your wife? Lin Fan was gleeful in his heart right now. To think that these guys would be so naughty. They had evidently known him, but yet they acted as though they didn't. Yu Lan, Yi Dao replied. Junior brother, you can get up now. The mother *C King Human King is gone. Wu Tianai remarked. Gone. Yi Dao was frantic. Yes, he's gone to the Battle Emperor sect. Chapter 644. The Indignance in the Heart of Sovereign King Wei. Chapter 644. The Indignance in the Heart of Sovereign King Wei. The 3 sovereign kings are leading a 10 million troop of ancient race army to surround and attack the Battle Emperor sect. Shall we head up and help? In a sect, an elder was beseeching his Grand Master. Elder Lai Yong, I know that you're on pretty good terms with one of the elders of the Battle Emperor sect. However, you've got to understand that this is no casual situation right now. 3 sovereign kings. Even if we were to send our entire sect over, there would only be a single outcome for us. No-vel-b-in.c-om. The moment Elder Lai Yong heard these words, he was filled with pain in his heart. However, he did not wish to let the issue go just like that. Grand Master, perhaps there might be other sects who are lending their assistance as well. Let this matter be. Please head back. The Grand Master did not want to say anything more as he waved his hands and had the elder head back. With an issue as such, there were many major sects who had suffered losses before. In the past, there were some sects who could not stand this overbearing way of the ancient race and had rendered their assistance as well. However, at the end of the day, they realized that there were few sects who would actually lend their help as well. Each and every one of them would choose to safeguard their own interests and watch the fire at bay. However, it wasn't long before a disciple came running in frantically. Grand Master, this is bad. Elder Lai Yong has left the sect. Highs. The Grand Master shook his head, evidently exasperated. This was something that was common in the ancient saint world now. Even if they were to lend their help, they would only be sending themselves to death's door. This was especially the case this time around when 3 sovereign kings were combining forces to deal with a single battle emperor sect. Not only that, they had a 10 million strong ancient race army at their command. Who would be their match at all? Even though there were many beings of the thousands of races, compared to the ancient race, it was still a world of a difference. That was a race that was blessed by the heavens itself. It wasn't something they could go against that easily. The vicinity that the world-crossing voice transmission was sent out by the Battle Emperor sect was way too small. Because of that, there were many sects that did not even know about what was happening right now. Battle Emperor sect. It existed within a derelict sculpture. This sculpture was on the brink of collapse and was filled with dust all over the surface. However, this sculpture was the very symbol that represented the Battle Emperor sect. The Battle Emperor sect resided within an alternate dimension within this sculpture. Thousands of years had passed. The progress of the Battle Emperor sect was rapid as well. However, since the ancient race was a formidable existence to everyone else, they too have chosen to remain hidden without revealing themselves at all. At this moment, outside the sculpture, the skies were a pitch, dense patch of darkness. Only a single look over was needed to see it all filled with ancient race beings. This was a sight that would have any being of the thousands of races filled with fright, causing fear to stem from the very root of their souls. There were so many ancient race beings. If they were to all strike out together, who in the ancient saint world could possibly hold out against them? Amidst this vast and boundless ancient race army, 3 jewel thrones floated gently. There was an ancient race being seated on each of those jewel thrones. The sculpture of the Battle Emperor sect is pretty decent indeed. To think that it could have hidden them for such a long time. Well, we'll see where they can run this time around. The Sovereign King Chi's body was bulky, with chilly eyes. The moment he spoke up, a frosty aura emanated in all directions, as though the life and death of everything in this world were all under his control. The Lord Utmost Being has spoken. We must take this sculpture of the Battle Emperor sect back with us. Sovereign King Wei, you've just been appointed not too long ago. Seems like this should be the first mission for you. Later on, you've got to make sure you perform well. Sovereign King Zheng chuckled at Sovereign King Wei, who was seated near him. However, there was a tone of contempt hidden within this chuckle. In the eyes of Sovereign King Qi and Zheng, this newly appointed Sovereign King Wei was nothing but a trash that was forcefully brought up by the Lord Utmost Being. This was an ant-like ancient race soldier who had obtained a present from the Lord Utmost Being, and thus this high position of his. But to them, this Sovereign King Wei was nothing but a pawn in the Lord Utmost Being's game of chess. King Sovereign King did not reply. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but with the Sovereign King Qi and Zheng beside him, he was feeling an immense pressure. He knew his own status. He was once a lowly soldier, without any power at all. It was just on the spur of the moment that the Lord Utmost Being had boosted his strength, allowing him to take on the seat of the Sovereign King Wei. However, the heart of the Sovereign King Wei was sinister unlike any others. He swore that he must climb all the way up and have every single other ancient race being fear him. Since the Lord Utmost Being had laid down this mission now, they had to complete this no matter what. With that, the Sovereign King Wei stood up. Opening that pitch-black wide palm of his, a massive surge of energy burst forth, causing the void to topple in endlessly. The sculpture of the Battle Emperor sect began to tremble along with it as well. It was as though a strong suction force was trying to pull the Battle Emperor sect out of its hiding place within the sculpture forcefully. At this moment within the Battle Emperor sect, every member from top to bottom was filled with a look of anxiousness. Are there any other sects that are coming forth to help? An elder asked hurriedly. No, the elder who was stationed to receive those sects who were coming forth to render assistance shook his head helplessly. This time around, it was a disaster, a calamity. From this day forth, the Battle Emperor sect might perish entirely from the ranks of the beings of the thousands of races. Forget it, forget it. This is the fated tribulation that was destined in our lives. The Grand Master of the Battle Emperor sect lamented. All of us are willing to live and die with the sect, standing up against all the ancient race beings. Outside the main hall stood a grandiose legion of disciples. Standing there, they were upright and honorable in their dispositions. While they knew how horrifying it was outside, they knew that fear wouldn't do them any good either. The only way they could hope to make this out alive was to fight with everything they had for that sliver of hope. Looking at these disciples of his, the Grand Master of the Battle Emperor sect could not help but sigh in his heart. This would be a really bloody battle today. Grandmaster Yun of the Cloud Sect has arrived. At this moment, a bright light shimmered in the skies. Dozens of figures appeared, floating in the void gently. Brother Wu He, the Cloud Sect is here to help. The moment Grandmaster Yun knew that the Battle Emperor Sect was surrounded by the ancient race army, he gathered a few elders with him without any bit of hesitation. Breaking through the void, he headed forth immediately. Many thanks, Grandmaster Yun. Wu He looked over at Grandmaster Yun and cupped his fists together with a look of extreme gratitude in his face. With the arrival of Grandmaster Yun, Wu He felt a strand of hope rising in his heart. Grandmaster Yun was someone of a divine celestial level 8, universal elixir state. This was similar to that of sovereign kings Qi and Zheng. He would be able to hold out against one of them at least. This time around, Grandmaster Yun brought forth with him 10 elders for the fight. Meng Hengtian wasn't here, he was back in Cloud Sect, holding on the fort while the Grandmaster wasn't around. The beings of the thousands of races are a big family to begin with. If the Battle Emperor Sect is in trouble, how can the Cloud Sect not come forth? It's just that this time around, the force of the ancient race is extremely formidable. This is not going to be simple, Grandmaster Yun remarked in the face of the truth. Suddenly, the entire Battle Emperor Sect began to rattle. There was a tremendous force pulling at them from the outsides. To think that Sovereign King Wei would have made his move already. The face of Grandmaster Yun sterned up. Slapping out with his fist, he repulsed this suction force entirely. Outside, Sovereign King Wei was startled to find out that a ferocious power was emanated out back at him. Suddenly, his spirit focused as he slapped out a few times, shattering that opposing force. Sovereign King Wei, seems like the Battle Emperor Sect has brought forth some strong reinforcements. Sovereign King Zheng burst out laughing. Ignoring Sovereign King Wei, whose face was looking terrible right now, his fingers grabbed out with a claw-like grip that snatched at every single living being. Within his body, a universal elixir erupted forth with a massive amount of strength. All of you, come on out. Under the might of this tremendous force, the Battle Emperor Sect was forcefully plucked out from within the sculpture. I'd say, I was thinking who it could be. Seems like it's Grandmaster Yun. So, the Cloud Sect is so certain that they're safe and secure that they've gotten the guts to come stand up against the ancient race as such, Sovereign King Zheng could see through the entire Battle Emperor Sect with a single sweeping glance. He jeered out sinisterly as he caught sight of a figure within it. Sovereign King Zheng, I trust you have been well since our last meeting. The moment Grandmaster Yun caught sight of Sovereign King Zheng, his face tightened up. In Grandmaster Yun's calculations, if they were to exchange blows right now, the odds of him winning against Sovereign King Zheng were 50-50. Chapter 645. Everyone was hidden like ghosts. Chapter 645. Everyone was hidden like ghosts. Looking at the situation before him, Grandmaster Yun's face tensed up. This gigantic blanket of an ancient race army before him, these guys were practically leaving them with no way out at all. Even if he could lock down one of the 3 sovereign kings, the moment this entire army rushed up, the Battle Emperor Sect would be drowned into oblivion. At this moment, Grandmaster Yun was clear in his heart. There wasn't any hope left. However, even if there wasn't any hope, he was willing to go at it with all he had. After all, the thought of giving up in the face of the ancient race had never ever come across his mind. The moment the disciples of the Battle Emperor Sect caught sight of the sheer number of ancient race beings, they were stumped. The ominous aura that was produced by this vast, boundless army took on the shape of demons by itself. Howling out malevolently, that aura alone was enough to rattle at one's heart. Gulp. The disciples of the Battle Emperor Sect swallowed down their saliva as a look of fear filled their faces. They were still trying to hang on despite the situation. But, when they caught sight of the cruel, sneering smiles on the faces of the ancient race beings, all the blood started draining from their faces. Not bad. To think that the Cloud Sect would bring forth this many elders with them. Evidently, the Cloud Sect is living way too comfortable a life right now. Once I'm done here with the Battle Emperor Sect, I guess it's time to go take a tour around the Cloud Sect, Sovereign King Zheng jeered coldly. A boundless aura erupted forth from him, rumbling along like the vast, endless seas. Under the repression of this aura, all the disciples of the Battle Emperor Sect were horrified. They felt as though they had just stepped foot into a deep, endless hell. The moment Grandmaster Yun heard these words, he frowned. Evidently, there was some disbelief in it. However, his face returned to normal almost immediately as he glared straight at the Sovereign King Zheng. After that battle 500 years ago, I haven't exchanged any blows with you. Seems like we'll have a grasp of the base of your powers today. Haha, don't get too hurried now, Grandmaster Yun. To be honest, all of us at the ancient race had long known about the location of the Cloud sect. However, based on the wishes of our Lord Utmost Being, it wasn't the time to strike yet. But, I guess it makes no difference whether or not I tell you this today. After all, the next sect to be destroyed will be the Cloud sect anyways. Sovereign King Jung laughed wildly as his eyes shone with a cold intent. For the Sovereign King Jung, the beings of the thousands of races were nothing but mere fishes. Each time he needed food, he would kill them. Even though Grandmaster Yun's hands were hidden behind his back, they were breaking out in cold sweat. The words of Sovereign King Jung had evidently laid down an immense pressure on him. He had not expected that the ancient race would know about the Cloud sect's location. However, how could that be right? The place where the Cloud sect was hidden was extremely inconspicuous. How could the ancient race possibly find out about it? But, this was not the right time to be worrying about stuff as such. Even though there were many powerful beings within the Battle Emperor sect, there were not many top-tiered powerful fighters. Even the cultivation state of Grandmaster Wu He of the Battle Emperor sect was only that of a divine celestial level 7, all in one state. Even if he could hold off Sovereign King Jung, what about Sovereign King Qi? Based on Sovereign King Qi's powers, he could take down Wu He and the others just by batting his eyelids. Seemed like he could only depend on himself to hold off against two of them then. Otherwise, there truly wasn't any way out of this. Grandmaster Yun, you don't have to overthink about this. Today, the Battle Emperor sect must definitely be annihilated. You want to hold off against Sovereign King Qi and me. But, I'm afraid you don't really know how strong our children of the ancient race army are, right? Do you believe that if I were to just order a single command and have all of them strike down, there would be no one left alive in the entire Battle Emperor sect just like that? Sovereign King Jung laughed out tauntingly. Grandmaster Yun's face turned terrible. Sovereign King Jung was right. Given their sheer numbers, there was no way for the Battle Emperor sect to defend against this. Even all of those elders that he had brought along wouldn't be able to fight against that. Amongst the 10 million strong ancient race army, there were countless legatus. Their cultivation states weren't weak either. If Sovereign Kings Jung and Qi weren't around, he would have the confidence of killing those legatus. However, now that these two Sovereign Kings were present, there was no chance of him even getting to strike out at them. Right now, the atmosphere of the entire place was extremely repressive. All of those disciples of the Battle Emperor sect who were being pushed back felt their entire spirits being caged up. Some of the disciples sat on the ground, crippled and with listless eyes. Before they had even gotten to the battlefield, they had lost their fighting spirits. Some of the disciples wielded weapons in their hands. However, those weapons were trembling all the time uncontrollably. I'm afraid. I don't wish to die. But I hate the ancient race. Therefore, I've got to remain strong. The ancient race has killed my parents, but yet here I am being so useless. Even though 50 years have passed and the enemy stands before my eyes, I'm still as afraid as ever. Amongst them were some genius disciples. They were unparalleled within the same cultivation states and it only took them a short time of training before they got to the strongest states of training respectively. In the eyes of the Grand Master, elders, and fellow disciples, they were poised to be the strongest existences in the future. However, it was all too late for that now. After all, the enemy would never accord them with the chance to turn into that strongest existence they were meant to be. There were countless of beings of the thousands of races. However, amongst them, only few would get the chance to turn strong and grow up. The rest of them would undoubtedly die along the way. The ancient race wasn't dumb. They knew that they mustn't allow these beings to get stronger. After all, they would definitely be a formidable force to deal with once they were strong. And, the beings of the thousands of races did not let the ancient race down either. Each and every one of them were as timid as mice and would never band up together. Taking this invasion of the ancient race army against the Battle Emperor sect this time around for example, if the beings of the thousands of races were to band up and stand strong together, even if the casualties were innumerable and the losses substantial, they would be able to hold them back. However, that was all in theory. Wu He looked at the disciples under him, feeling helpless in his heart. At this moment, somewhere else in the void, a shroud of black mist moved around. Within this black mist, a group of people were hidden within. Palace Master, it's going to be over for the Battle Emperor sect. An elderly figure with dried-up skin and draped in black robes croaked hoarsely. Gui Pu, you're right. Even I had not expected the ancient race to send forth these many soldiers for the operation. Even those two old fogies, Sovereign Kings Jung and Qi are here. If they truly want to protect the Battle Emperor sect, they would have to have 10 divine celestial level 8, universal elixir state powerful beings at the very least. Palace Master, that is undoubtedly just a tale of fantasy. Gui Pu replied. That's right. However, our purpose this time around isn't to help the Battle Emperor sect, of course. The utmost being of the ancient race killed my son. I'll have him pay the price. Since I can't kill the utmost being himself, I'll just have to settle for 3 of his lackey dogs. This middle-aged man with a demonic charm scoffed out coldly. His tone was filled with a boundless fury. This man was the Palace Master of the Evil Alliance. He was also the father of the Evil Alliance Prince. Wait till the Sovereign Kings Zheng and Qi get into a scuffle with that old man Yun. By then, your Palace Master here shall head down to clean them up in one fell swoop. The Evil Alliance Palace Master remarked frostily. Palace Master, if the utmost being of the ancient race catches wind of this, wouldn't it be? Gui Pu asked at the side. HMPH, so what if that happens? Even though the utmost being of the ancient race is powerful, don't we have anyone here at the Evil Alliance that's capable as well? The Evil Alliance Palace Master asked. Palace Master, look over there. The Fox Emperor is here as well. Gui Pu turned his head into the void nearby and frowned. When he looked over, he caught sight of a man whose aura was akin to that of the royalty in the 9 heavens. Embracing beautiful ladies in both his arms, he laid down on a throne made of foxskin and squinted his eyes while glaring at the happenings below. To think that that crafty fox would be here too. He must be here to take advantage of the situation. Evil Alliance Palace Master smirked icily. Watch out for him later on. This crafty old fox is someone who wouldn't even bat an eyelid at being nefarious. His methods are extremely vile. Yes, Palace Master. The Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor exchanged a casual glance, not too bothered about the other. For the both of them, as long as their interests did not clash, they wouldn't bother the other. Chapter 646, Dead with a Punch. Chapter 646, Dead with a Punch. There was a gulf of a difference in the powers possessed by both sides. Unless a miracle were to appear, it would practically be a hopeless situation right now. I'm a little tired of talking now. Children, go forth and devour the Battle Emperor sect so that we can head home and sleep. Sovereign King Zheng gave a loud yawn. He was completely looking down on the Battle Emperor sect right now. Waving his hands, the entire 10 million troops swooped down onto the Battle Emperor sect in a swarm that reeked of a seething aura. Grand Master Yun, your opponent is me. You had better start thinking about yourself first. Once the Battle Emperor sect is destroyed, you're the next to die. Sovereign King Zheng laughed coldly. The moment everyone from the Battle Emperor sect caught sight of this massive army, they were dumbfounded. Now that they were surrounded, it didn't matter where they went, up or down. The ancient race soldiers growled malevolently one after another. Kill all of these living beings. Swallow them up. They must taste delicious. The legatus of the ancient race who were hidden within that army were like devious ghosts, sneaking around, all ready for a sneak attack at any moment. Grand Master Yun, to think that you're here too. Sovereign King Zheng, who was about to strike out, retracted his hand and stood where he was. The moment Grand Master Yun heard this voice, his brows twitched a little, somewhat bewildered. However, when he saw the person who had arrived, he called out in joy, Lin Fan. It's been a long time. I think it's been around 3 years. Lin Fan chuckled. Why are you here? Grand Master Yun asked puzzledly. Why, Grand Master Yun, are you the only one who can come help defend against the ancient race fearlessly while I'm not allowed? Lin Fan smiled. Ha. Grand Master Yun burst out laughing. For a moment, he had entirely forgotten about the situation they were in right now. The elders who had come along with the Grand Master were initially pretty perplexed over who this person who had arrived was. But upon closer inspection, a person suddenly came to their mind. The human who was rumored to have a Brokeback Mountain relationship with the Grand Master. Even though they had not witnessed it for themselves, they had heard of this rumor spreading within the sect before. Initially, they did not believe in this rumor. After all, what sort of a character was their Grand Master? How would he engage in an act as such? However, as time went by, they started to believe in it. After all, in the entire 3 years, the one person that the Grand Master had mentioned the most about was none other than Lin Fan. In fact, Grand Master Yun wasn't the only one always talking about Lin Fan. Elder Meng Hengtian would talk about him from time to time as well. Furthermore, there was once during a sect banquet when Elder Meng Hengtian was drunk, and he actually let out some horrifying facts. Highs, I wonder where that Lin Fan lad has gone to. Back then, me and Grand Master Yun had such a good and pleasurable time with him. Even just thinking back about that has me reminiscing about it. The moment these words came out of Meng Hengtian's mouth, everyone were entirely stumped. However, they did not point it out at all. After all, to them, this must be some sort of a disease. With that, the elders of the Cloud sect would then bring back girls repeatedly from time to time, hoping that Grandmaster Yun and Elder Meng Hengtian could walk out of the shadows of this ailment. When Wu He saw that someone was approaching, he was under the impression that it might be some powerful being. However, when he saw that it was just a young man, he let out a slight sigh. Seemed like at every critical moment, any small little disturbance would be taken in as a lifesaver even. The disciples of the Battle Emperor sect were shocked at this moment. Against these ancient race beings, they were extremely timid right now. Ever since they were young, they had known how vile and vicious they were. However, there were some disciples who had a really high battle intent right now instead. These were the people who had ascended up from the lower worlds. They knew that the more dangerous the situation, the more they could burst forth with the potential they had within them. Grandmaster Yun, to think that you would even be in the mood for casual chit-chat even at this juncture. Could it be that you've given up hope of even defending at all? Sovereign King Zheng laughed coldly. Lin Fan, these guys over here are Sovereign Kings Zheng and Qi here. You've got to watch out a little later on. Grandmaster Yun did not know just how strong Lin Fan was right now. However, he knew that if they were talking about a savant such as this guy, he would definitely be at some monstrous hell of a cultivation state with just 3 years of time. That's right. Did you truly kill the essence spirit doppelganger of the utmost being, Cruel? Grandmaster Yun asked in a low tone. Lin Fan's brows frowned a little as he chuckled out, what do you think? It must be, then. Grandmaster Yun smiled and replied. Courting death, did you guys not hear the words of your sovereign king here? Looking at how the other party was ignoring him, Sovereign King Zheng bellowed out. Shout what shout, would it kill you to wait just a little longer? Lin Fan looked over at Sovereign King Zheng with a pissed face. Sovereign King Zheng had not expected the person before him to be this brazen. He then chuckled out frostily, good, very good. Sovereign King Zheng, this man before you is the mother Sea King Human King, Lin Fan. Even your own master, utmost being, Cruel, has suffered a loss before his very face. Do you really take yourself as someone that's stronger than Cruel? Grandmaster Yun declared in a loud voice. This sentence wasn't meant for the Sovereign King Zheng. It was meant for the ears of everyone out there. He had noticed how the disciples of the Battle Emperor sect was looking. In a situation as such, how could they possibly win over the ancient race? However, just as Grandmaster Yun spoke out with those words, its impact was indeed explosive. The entire ancient race army was stunned as their sights turned towards Lin Fan. The mighty name of the mother Sea King Human King was as loud as thunder that was booming in their ears. Just how many ancient race soldiers had died in the hands of this guy? God knew how many. There were too many to be counted. The moment Grandmaster Wu He of the Battle Emperor sect heard these words, his face changed immediately. He definitely believed in the words of Grandmaster Yun. These disciples of the Battle Emperor sect looked at the figure in the void with a blank expression on their faces. This man was the great mother Sea King Human King. The supremely powerful being who had killed the essence spirit doppelganger of the utmost being of the ancient race. The feeling of the adoring gazes from the masses was so great that Lin Fan could not help but straighten his back. His aura turned extremely calm on the surface while he was sniggering in his heart. This buff of bullshit from Grandmaster Yun came at a time where he was caught totally unaware. But that didn't matter. Yours truly loved it. He's the mother Sea King Human King. The mother Sea King Human King who has killed the ancient race beings the entire world over. Ah, to think that our idol would come forth and rescue us. Haha, we won't have to die now. With the mother Sea King Human King around, what else do we have to be afraid of? That's right, just FCK them up. Let us stand firm and fight together with the mother Sea King Human King, killing the ancient race beings till they've got nothing left to their names. ... Looking at these bursts of cheers, Lin Fan felt a little embarrassed now. Grandmaster Yun looked over at Lin Fan and gave a hardened smile. It had been 3 years since he had seen this guy. But still, he could tell that this lad had matured quite a fair bit. To be able to remain so composed upon hearing this many praises coming at him. Not bad, not bad. Lin Fan pushed down with his hands, indicating for the crowd to get silent. Grandmaster Yun's face was filled with a calm smile. At this moment, everyone's morale was extremely high-strung. As long as Lin Fan could motivate them a little, it would definitely dispel the fear from their hearts, allowing them to face the ancient race army with confidence. Fellow brothers, today, whomsoever we're unhappy with, we FCK them up. Who's afraid of whom? We'll FCK these ancient race beings back into their mother's womb. We'll FCK them up so hard that their parents wouldn't be able to recognize them. We'll FCK them up so. Lin Fan was beyond excited right now. FCK. That's right. If we're unhappy, we FCK. ... Grandmaster Yun looked at Lin Fan and sighed helplessly. Seemed like he had thought too much. And just at this moment, Lin Fan pointed his finger into the distance. He then looked over at the disciples of the Battle Emperor sect and shouted out, "Tell me, what's over there?" Sovereign King Wei of the ancient race. The disciples of the Battle Emperor sect did not know what their idol was trying to do, but they still replied earnestly. "You're wrong. There's nothing there. It's just a tuft of air." Lin Fan replied. Everyone was stunned. What did he mean? Wasn't the Sovereign King Wei obviously there? But just at this moment, a loud explosion rang out. By the time everyone turned their heads into the distance, they were utterly dumbfounded by what had just happened. The Mother *C King Human King had just punched the Sovereign King Wei into oblivion with a single punch. Tell me now, what's that? Lin Fan blew the dust off his knuckles. Indeed, he was killed with a single punch. So damn bloody weak. Everyone from the Battle Emperor sect waited with bated breath. At this moment, they all screamed out together. That's pure air. That's right. All of you guys have a good eyesight. Alright, now, follow my tempo and let's go. Pick up our weapons and give them a good round of FC King. Lin Fan's emotions were raving in all directions right now. The sight of this many ancient race beings available for the plucking had him extremely emotional right now. Pick up our weapons. Follow the Mother *C King Human King to FCK them up. C Ohm. Lin Fan, hold it in. Hold it in. At this, Grandmaster Yun and the others were completely stumped. Just what sort of a tempo was everything going at right now? Even Sovereign Kings Zheng and Qi were stunned. Where in the world did this guy spout out from? But just at this moment, yet another explosion rang out from the distance. To think that it would be you. This voice was filled with an endless rage. Lin Fan raised his head and looked up into the void. He could not help but be puzzled. Just who in the world were these two fellas? Did he even know them? Chapter 647, Quite the number of foes. Chapter 647, Quite the number of foes. Ding, congratulations on killing Divine Celestial Level 7, all-in-one state Sovereign King Wei. Ding, experience points plus 650,000 feet. What, isn't this Sovereign King Wei too full of crap? Doesn't he have anything at all? Sovereign King Wei wasn't someone whom Lin Fan would be too concerned about by now. His connate paradise had already spawned out 13,000 living beings within it. As such, his powers have already climbed to a horrifying degree. As to just how strong this truly was, Lin Fan personally had no idea either. However, killing Sovereign King Wei in a split second was still something that was definitive. However, no matter what, he was only a Divine Celestial Level 5, Essence Spirit State being personally. Now that he had killed Sovereign King Wei in the blink of an eye, shouldn't he get a little something? But, after killing him, Lin Fan realized that this guy was all talk and no show. Other than his physical cultivation state being that of a Divine Celestial Level 7, all-in-one state being, everything else was forcefully brought up. One tap at his paradise was enough to shatter it. It didn't even have a foundation to it. Weak. This was way too weak. However, for the members of the Battle Emperor sect, this was absolutely blinding. To think that Sovereign King Wei would be blown apart with a single punch just like that. Isn't this way too strong? The Mother *C King Human King is not for show indeed. His powers are firm and resolute. With him around, there's no way these ancient race beings would dare to act so brazenly. As for Sovereign Kings Qi and Zheng, the fact that Sovereign King Wei was killed in a single strike wasn't something that they had expected either. Even though Sovereign King Wei was someone who was forcefully boosted up by the Lord Utmost Being, his strength still wasn't any small piece of cake. Even if it were themselves, it'd be impossible for them to kill him in a split second like this. However, to think that this human could have taken him down in a jiffy just like that without a single bit of effort. How could this not shock them at all? Uncontrollably, Sovereign Kings Zheng and Qi couldn't help but tense up. In the beginning, they had thought that this living being was nothing more than an ant. But, to think that this ant would be this strong. At this moment, two tears appeared in the void above. C Ohm. Everyone cast their gazes into the skies above, wondering who it was that had arrived. Who are you guys? Do I know you? Lin Fan looked at and asked in a perplexed tone. The cultivation states of these two guys weren't weak. To think that they would even be equals of Sovereign Kings Qi and Zheng. In fact, just from the aura emanating out from them alone, Lin Fan personally felt that they were even scarier than Sovereign Kings Qi and Zheng. Evil Alliance Palace Master, Fox Emperor. The moment Grand Master Yun caught sight of the both of them, his face could not help but crumple up. These guys were beings who were extremely nefarious in the ancient saint world. Their methods were vicious, and there was no way they could be here for a good reason. You were the one who killed my daughter. The Fox Emperor glared at Lin Fan coldly, his heart burning with a slow rage. There were countless children to his name. Naturally, he wouldn't care that much about something like that. However, the thing that had him angst was the fact that this human had not given him much respect. That was something that the Fox Emperor couldn't forgive. Killed your daughter? Who's your daughter? Lin Fan was stunned. He had killed so many people. How in the world would he know which one was his daughter? Oh, I remember now. You're the father of that little fox brat. The one whose consciousness had appeared before me to act up a show of bullshit but was sent leaving in an utter defeat, right? Lin Fan suddenly recalled. Wasn't this guy the father of that Bai Ling or something? If he were to count with his fingers, it would be around 3 years now. What? This guy was still bearing a grudge over something like that? Gosh, what a petty person he was. Brazen. The moment the Fox Emperor saw how this guy before him was still so insolent, his face changed immediately. His royal aura was rumbling right now, as though he was bent on slaughtering every single living being in this world. Hold on now, what are you hurrying about? Lin Fan raised his hand to stop the other party. He then cast his gaze at the other person present, but you. I don't know you at all. However, judging by the look in your eyes, it seems as though you've got quite the grudge against me as well. Okay, come, tell me. What's your problem now? Mother *C King Human King, Lin Fan, you were the one who tricked the utmost being of the ancient race into killing my son. Do you want to act as though you don't know about this? The Evil Alliance Palace Master's face was angered right now. He looked back at the happenings of that light screen later on that fateful day. His very own child was shammed to death by this very Mother *C King Human King. Although the utmost being of the ancient race was still the one who had killed his son ultimately, this Mother *C King Human King was the instigator behind it. Since he couldn't kill the utmost being, he would rather pin all the blame onto this human before him. Oh, right, I remember now. So, your son is that Evil Alliance prince who failed his act of bullshit and ended up getting culled. Oh, but I've got to say he did die quite the terrible death. He was devoured entirely by the doppelganger of the utmost being. I know you must be feeling really pained in your heart, and you have my condolences. Lin Fan shrugged his shoulders and replied in a tone of exasperation. To think that this time around, there would be these many people seeking him for vengeance. This wasn't something that Lin Fan had expected. To think that he would have so many foes out there. Gosh, if even the Namo Saint Emperor that he had offended in the lower world were here right now, the entire ensemble would be complete then. You shut up, the Evil Alliance Palace Master roared in rage. His expression then focused up. This time around, the reason why I came out is to have you slain. I'll have you know the consequences of killing my son. Oh, so, you're here to kill me. But I think you've got to wait up a little. These two sovereign kings want to kill me as well. Lin Fan wasn't afraid in the least bit. He was someone with tricks up his sleeves and a background to boot. Even though things might get a little tricky with the appearance of the Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor, the moment Lin Fan thought of his ace in the hole, he wasn't afraid at all. If anyone weren't happy about it, FCK him then. He'd FCK them till the end. Sovereign Kings Qi and Zheng, what do you guys say about combining forces? The Evil Alliance Palace Master looked at Lin Fan in rage before turning to the two sovereign kings. After witnessing the strength of the Mother *C King Human King, the two sovereign kings were troubled right now. To think that this guy who had appeared out of nowhere would be this strong. However, the moment they heard the words of the Evil Alliance Palace Master, they chuckled out as well. Alright, sure, combine forces. Let's do it. After all, the Evil Alliance has made many trades with the ancient race. I guess you guys can be considered as half-friends. Sovereign King Zheng burst out laughing. What about you, Fox Emperor? Evil Alliance Palace Master looked over at the Fox Emperor. The Fox Emperor remained silent for a moment before opening both of his eyes. All right. We'll combine forces and destroy the Battle Emperor sect first then. The Fox Emperor knew that if they didn't combine forces, he might not be able to get his revenge at all. However, if they did, it would definitely be a formidable force to behold. By then, was there any way this Mother *C King Human King wouldn't die still? Evil Alliance Palace Master, Fox Emperor, both of you guys are beings of the thousands of races as well. How can you guys side with the ancient race? Grand Master Yun strode forth and hollered out. He had not expected the Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor to call for a partnership with the ancient race beings here. This would certainly cause things to get tricky. The strength of the Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor were no weaker than his. If they were to truly go at it, the Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor might even be that bit stronger. Even though Lin Fan was powerful, if he were to face up with the combined attacks of the Evil Alliance Palace Master, Fox Emperor, and Ancient Race, it might still get dangerous out there. Old man Yun, cut your crap. The way the Evil Alliance conducts out business has nothing to do with you. The Evil Alliance Palace Master snorted coldly. At the start, the disciples of the Battle Emperor sect were still filled with an excited mood. However, the way the situation unfolded had them tensing up as well. There were now two more powerful beings added into the fray. However, these two powerful beings were not on their side. They were going to join up with the ancient race. Now, this didn't sound right at all. You guys are practically a disgrace to the thousands of races. Grand Master Yun bellowed in disdain. Haha, nothing you say now is going to help the situation at all. Mother Fasterisk Sea King Human King, I know you're really strong. However, I've just go to see how you can protect all these ants right here. The Evil Alliance Palace Master turned his gaze towards everyone around. The moment the masses heard these words, their faces froze up. They started getting restless and uneasy. Chapter 648, The 8 Great Eternal God Beings. Chapter 648, The 8 Great Eternal God Beings. To think that the Evil Alliance Palace Master would be so despicable to want to head straight for the masses of the Battle Emperor sect. All of the elders who were brought forth by Grand Master Yun changed their expressions immediately. Sovereign Kings Qi and Zheng along with the Fox Emperor, if those three were to hold down the Mother Fasterisk Sea King Human King and their Grand Master, there was no way all of them could even fend off against the Evil Alliance Palace Master. Not only that, there were countless legatus within the ancient race army. There were also quite a number of divine celestial level 5 or 6 powerful beings. Even though Battle Emperor sect was a sect, they didn't have too many disciples with high cultivation states. Most likely, even if the Mother Fasterisk Sea King Human King and the others were to live on, the Battle Emperor sect might just cease to exist. What a shameless piece of sh*t. The masses were enraged within their hearts right now. To think that this Evil Alliance Palace Master would be this shameless. Evil Alliance Palace Master, this is our battle to fight. To think that you would discard your honor and strike out at the mere disciples of the Battle Emperor sect. Grand Master Yun lectured out harshly, infuriated in his heart. The Evil Alliance Palace Master could be considered quite a powerful being as well. How could he be so shamelessly despicable? Haha, old man Yun, don't place your righteous notions onto me. The way the Evil Alliance conducts our business is to exterminate from the roots down. Since you want to help the Battle Emperor sect, we'll just have to see if you've got the capabilities to do so. Naturally, the Evil Alliance Palace Master wasn't going to give in just like that. He was going to have everyone from the Battle Emperor sect killed right here. This was all to let the Mother Fasterisk Sea King Human King know that if he wanted to save them, then your Palace Master here would just have to kill all of them before his very eyes. Right now, Grand Master Wu He of the Battle Emperor sect was looking pretty terrible. To think that things would develop as such. From the start, it was already pretty difficult to deal with the two sovereign kings. To think that there would be two more powerful beings added to the fray now. The Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor both had really notorious names, and were extremely difficult to deal with. This wasn't even including the ancient race army that was waiting. Even if those two didn't choose to strike out, the ancient race army could just exhaust them out indefinitely before annihilating the Battle Emperor sect just like that. Evil Alliance Palace Master, we brought with us a 10 million strong army. It doesn't matter how many powerful beings they have in their midst. The Battle Emperor sect must die. Even if there were only these few left in the end, what can they do? Sovereign King Qi was filled with confidence of winning this right now. Even though the death of Sovereign King Wei had brought him that little bit of a surprise, that moment had long since disappeared into the air. After all, it was only someone insignificant who had died anyway. N.O.V.E. Lin Fan, how many of them can you hold back? Grand Master Yun came beside Lin Fan and asked in a soft whisper. This situation right now was definitely cumbersome. If it were only the Sovereign King Qi and the others, so be it. But, there were the 10 million troops that they had to consider right now as well. While the strength of the ancient race army was definitely incomparable to their own, it was still a formidable force to behold for the disciples of the Battle Emperor sect. That vast sea of soldiers was definitely enough to break through anything. Even if it were he himself who had to face off this entire 10 million troops ancient race army, he could definitely kill quite a number. But, he reckoned that he'd still be forced retreating at the end of the day. Hold back how many? All of them, of course. Lin Fan replied indifferently. Ah, Grandmaster Yun did not know what Lin Fan meant by this. Hold back all of them. Even if he had the intention to do so, he had to have the matching power to boot. Looking at how Grandmaster Yun was somewhat disbelieving of his words, Lin Fan chuckled out helplessly. However, it did not bother him. After all, in a few moments' time, everyone would know whether what he said was true or not. Swallow up all of those living beings. Today, we shall flatten the entire Battle Emperor sect. Sovereign King Zheng waved his hands. With that, the ancient race army began to move as they let out a sinister, cold grin amongst all of the soldiers. For everyone from this ancient race army right now, there was only a limited number of prey available. If they were any bit slower, they might not be able to get anything at all. Evil Alliance Palace Master, Fox Emperor, you guys take care of that mother ** Sea King Human King. I'll kill off that old man Yun together with Sovereign King Qi. Sovereign King Zheng bellowed. Ha ha, children, kill and feast on them. Don't leave any standing. Sovereign King Qi burst out laughing wildly as an endless aura shot out from him. This aura was extremely berserk as it rippled through the entire world. Hold on. Just at this moment, Lin Fan shouted up into the skies above him, are you guys bloody sick in the head? Do you guys really think that you're going to do us in for sure? Lin Fan was pretty displeased right now. Were this bunch of ancient race beings just a bloody bunch of brain-dead shishts? Did they really think that they could act so insolently just because they had the advantage in numbers? Mother * Sea King Human King, what else do you have to say? Are you starting to feel afraid now? But, the outcome for you today is fixed. You shall have to die here. Sovereign King Zheng laughed out mockingly. Fear your little penis hair. Good, good, you guys are really acting tough, now that you think you've got tons of people under you. But today, yours truly will just have to see who has the strongest capabilities. All of you, come on out. Lin Fan bellowed, getting a little peeved. These guys were really way too much. Did they really take them for pushovers? Grandmaster Yun did not know what Lin Fan was trying to do. However, he was instantly flabbergasted in the next moment. Everyone from the Battle Emperor sect had already made their preparations for the attack. While they might feel fear in their hearts, all of them felt a boundless amount of courage surging within them. They were going to fight the ancient race till their deaths. However, just at this moment, the voids boomed out with a bright beam of light. It was so dazzling that everyone's eyes were starting to sting because of it. Old Master Universe, get the hell out. Yudo Ghost Emperor, get the hell out. Eon Fire God Emperor, get the hell out. Massacring Emperor, get the hell out. ... In the blink of an eye, following Lin Fan's bellow, the entire world shone with a bright radiance. Yin and Yang were interchanging rapidly while a demonic picture of Taiji rose up along with a tremendous aura that filled the entire world with it. So strong. This aura is just so strong. The moment Old Master Universe came out, the strange phenomenon that followed him was absolutely confounding. They had sensed an immensely unparalleled amount of energy surging out towards them. This power was so strong that it was in a state where they couldn't even fight against it at all. However, it wasn't long before yet another astounding sight appeared. Yet another massive aura emitted forth. This aura was sinister beyond any other. Countless ghosts filled the sky, howling and wailing. A black light covered the world. It seemed as though some terrifying existence was living within this black light. Following tightly after was yet another strong aura. A sea of flames surged through the entire world, burning with an ancient rage. The sky was as red as they could get under this scorching blaze, as though it could melt down at any moment. ... What's this? Just where are these auras coming from? Who's the one producing them? How could they be this strong? What has the mother * Sea King Human Emperor done? Why is there this sudden influx of tremendous auras? At this moment, everyone was stumped. Under these 8 different auras, they felt as though they were little ships coursing through this gigantic tsunami right now that could swallow them up at any moment. So strong. Feeling these 8 auras, even Grandmaster Yun could not help but tense up a little. At the same time, he looked at Lin Fan with a curious look in his eyes. He wondered just what sort of a method Lin Fan was using right now. Sovereign Kings Qi, Zheng, and the others changed their expressions in unison. They could feel the extremely ferocious auras appearing. This aura wasn't something they could go against. The Evil Alliance Palace Master exchanged glances with the Fox Emperor. Both of them revealed a filling panic within their eyes at this moment. They had not expected the Mother**Sea King Human King to have this up his sleeves. You bunch of B***stards. Yours truly here had not intended on bullying you guys from the start. But, you guys are simply going way overboard. Since that's the case, yours truly shall have to oppress you guys with pure strength and squish you guys to death. Boom, lightning flashed and crackled across the entire sky. In the blink of an eye, 8 figures appeared suddenly within the void. Following it, all 8 of them kneeled down onto the ground and kowtowed in a flush. Master. Chapter 649. Calm down, calm down. Chapter 649. Calm down, calm down. At this moment, Lin Fan nodded his head indifferently, showing a calm expression on his face. No matter what, these 8 old fogies were still divine celestial level 10, eternal God state beings. Even though they were tortured for 10,000 years in the body of the utmost being, causing their powers to be far from their peak, their eternal God cultivation state was still there. The skeletal camel still loomed greater than a horse. It shouldn't be an issue for them to FCK these guys here to death. Lin Fan had actually taken a slight liking to them by now. After tossing them in his paradise, other than having them cultivate Shengyang pills day and night, he still gave them the chance to repair their cultivations. The Thunder Trainer King was a genius who was skilled in holding 2 jobs simultaneously, training and guidance. Not only had he made these guys follow his every whim and will obediently, he had even improved their innate potentials in nature. Therefore, even if one were a useless piece of trash, they could still have a chance to reach their peak status once again. At this moment, everyone turned their gazes to Lin Fan with a stoned expression. While the members of the Battle Emperor sect did not know who the 8 of them were, they could tell just from the aura alone that they definitely possessed an unusually strong strength to them. Grand Master Yun's cultivation state was that of a divine celestial level 8, universal elixir state. Therefore, his perspective and knowledge on things were most definitely way higher than most other people. As such, he was the one who was most sensitive to pick up on how terrifying the 8 of them were. They're at eternal God cultivation state. Grand Master Yun was stumped right now. He did not know how Lin Fan could have taken in such powerful beings under his wings. Back when the 8 of them had their own freedoms, they were all vicious individuals. They killed wantonly and robbed others of their belongings after. There was no sin or crime they wouldn't commit. Naturally, they were hidden really well. Therefore, within the ancient saint world, there weren't many people who knew of their backgrounds and stuff like that. Later on, after they were subjugated by the utmost being, Cruel, they then disappeared from the ancient saint world without a trace, and had never appeared ever since. Even people who had once known them gradually forgot about them to the back of their heads. How could this be? Looking at the 8 peaceful beings before his eyes, Sovereign King Jung could not help but feel fright right now. The aura emanating from the 8 of them gave him a deep and incomprehensible feeling. The Fox Emperor and the Evil Alliance Palace Master exchanged glances with one another as a bubbling fear rose within their hearts. Even though Lin Fan and Grand Master Yun were strong, both of them wasn't enough to have them feel fear in their hearts. However, these 8 old fogies out of nowhere possessed an aura one stronger than the other. Evidently, their powers were nothing to be scoffed at. If they could fight, they would. If they couldn't, they'd retreat. For devious people such as the Fox Emperor and the Evil Alliance Palace Master, this was the creed of life. This was the creed that had allowed them to enjoy a life of ease all the way till their peak. At this moment, both of them were considering escaping. These 8 old fogies were simply way too beguiling. They wouldn't engage in something they didn't have the confidence in. Seal up the heaven and earth. I don't suppose you guys are going to have any issues killing all of the ancient race troops? Lin Fan asked. No problem, Master. 8 divine celestial level 10, eternal God state powerful beings. If they couldn't even deal with these 10 million ant-like beings, they would have lived their lives for nothing now. Ants would be ants at the end of the day. No matter how many of them there were, it would still just be a large number of ants. A truly powerful being could just use his aura to repress all of them and burst his way through. Grand Master Yun, then these guys over here, hand them over to me. It had been a long time since Lin Fan had been in a true battle now. Sovereign Kings Qi, Zheng, the Fox Emperor, and Evil Alliance Palace Master, all of these were powerful beings of the previous generation. Lin Fan wanted to have a taste of his own powers right now. Lin Fan, you're going to fight them all alone? Grand Master Yun asked, startled with some disbelief. The 4 of them weren't weak at all. Even if it were him, he wouldn't dare to guarantee that he may be able to get out of their hands alive. Hey, have you forgotten about my physical body state? Lin Fan chuckled. Oh, that's true. Suddenly, Grandmaster Yun recalled this point. Lin Fan's physical body state was that of a divine celestial level 8, universal elixir state being right now. Whether or not these few fellas could even harm him was another issue. The Fox Emperor and the Evil Alliance Palace Master had already intended to escape. However, at this moment, they found out that the heaven and earth were sealed by these guys. There was no way for them to run even if they wanted to. Like ravenous wolves, the 8 old fogies darted into the midst of that ancient race army. For these powerful beings of divine celestial level 10, eternal God state, these ancient race beings were nothing but weak chickens that they could kill with the back of their hands. The 4 of you, come on. Today, I shall have all of you slain. Lin Fan beckoned with his hands in a taunting manner. Mother *** Sea King Human King. You're courting death. The sovereign King Jung was riled right now. To think that the Mother *** Sea King Human King would still have this up his sleeves. Oh, we won't really know who the victor who emerges eventually will be yet, right? Mark my words, even though the ancient race is really strong right now, there will definitely come the day when you guys will finally face the descent of terror upon your faces. Lin Fan scorned coldly. He did not want to waste his breath any longer as he darted towards them straight away. Mother ** Sea King Human King, let us go now and we'll let this matter go. The Fox Emperor remarked. Dream on. Since you're here, do stay here then. Ripples were releasing forth from both of Lin Fan's hands as though they were combing through the heavens and earth. Ever since his nirvana finger had been strengthened, the tremors of the void possessed an even greater might than before. I, the sovereign King Jung, have reigned over the entire world with my might. Anyone who dares to provoke me as such would only have death awaiting them. Sovereign King Jung knew that the other party wasn't some pushover. Therefore, he didn't dare to be overconfident. The powers within his body surged as a golden elixir inside let out rays of blinding light. Lin Fan, watch out now. That's the universal God beam. The moment Grandmaster Yun caught sight of this, he could not help but speak out as a reminder. Since Lin Fan had not reached the universal elixir cultivation state yet, he naturally did not know about the mythical purposes of that state. However, he had faith in his own cultivation state, which is why he wasn't afraid. In the blink of an eye, Lin Fan rained out with a few hundred punches. Every single punch was earth-shattering, with a formidable might to them. Each punch transformed into a doomsday calamity god. These doomsday calamity gods were extremely menacing, wielding a small little world that was destructive on its own in their palms, causing a boundless amount of doomsday aura to erupt forth from it as they slammed it out at the sovereign King Jung. Doomsday Calamity God Fist was a skill that possessed an incredible amount of destructive force to it. Now that Lin Fan had trained it up to a certain degree, he had also infused multiple skills into it, using their strengths to mend its shortcomings. The moment it was deployed, it possessed a monstrous amount of ferocious power. The Universe God Beam pierced through everything like a series of sharp blades that slammed out at Lin Fan's body. Clang, clang, what's this? Lin Fan patted his chest indifferently, not bothered about it in the least bit. To think that your physical body state is this strong. How can that be? Initially, when the sovereign King Jung saw how the Universe God Beam had landed squarely on the body of the other party, he was exhilarated. However, in the blink of an eye, he stood there watching everything with his jaws agape. To think that he could defend against the Universe God Beam with just his mere body alone. That was unimaginable. The higher one's cultivation state was, the harder it would be to train up on their physical body states. N-O-V-L-P in .C Ohm. After one entered the divine celestial level 4, undying state, their powers would be infused into every single fiber of their being. If they wanted to strengthen their physical body states, they would have to strengthen every single piece of meat there was. For any single race out there, this was an incredibly difficult feat to achieve. Even the Vajra and Giant races whose physical body states were the trademarks of their races would have to pay an incredible price for strengthening their body after attaining the divine celestial level 4, undying state. But, how could a single human possess such a bloody strong physical body state? What are you looking for? Aren't you guys going to strike as well? Sovereign King Jung bellowed. But, just at this moment, a series of tragic wails rang out from the ancient race army above them. The moment Sovereign King Jung raised his head up, his eyes widened as the blood in his body started boiling. Chapter 650. Lay down the butcher's knife, and you shall turn into a Buddha. Chapter 650. Lay down the butcher's knife, and you shall turn into a Buddha. Ha ha, Shall all of you be turned into vengeful spirits in my Udo hell? Udo Ghost Emperor's black robes danced in the sky, seemingly able to encompass the entire heavens. As he raised 10 black fingers into the sky, a series of ghastly wails howled out into the entire world. Accompanying those wails were a cluster of mountains with a pitch-black door within them. The pitch-black door slammed open, sending a boundless ghost chi rippling out of it. As though they were grim reapers, they started winding themselves against the ancient race army. Ah, help us, Sovereign King. Save me. The series of tragic cries rang out repeatedly. All of those ancient race beings who were coiled around by the ghost chi turned into dried-up corpses as their souls were stolen from them. In fact, even the spirit, essence, and vitality within their bodies were lost out immediately as well. Such vicious methods. Lin Fan gazed over and could not help but have his eyes linger for a moment. Indeed, he was not a powerful being of divine celestial level 10, eternal God state for no reason. Every single strike was so overbearing. In the blink of an eye, a large bunch of ancient race beings died under that ghost chi just like that. Eternal God flames. Pishu. A hissing sound rang out as a storm of fire rained down from the skies akin to a shower of meteors that flew over in the direction of the ancient race army. The eyes of the Eon Fire God Emperor were indifferent. That huge red robe he was wearing was burning with eternal flames. With the wave of his hand, the entire sea of flames descended and caged the ancient race beings within. Be it Centurion, Tribunus, or Legatus, all of them had no chance of withstanding this sea of flames. The moment an eternal God state being struck out would be an earth-shattering one. Even if it were someone of a divine celestial level 8, universal elixir state, they wouldn't be able to defend against it. The disciples of the Battle Emperor sect sat on the ground, crippled. They were scared silly by now. Even though these 8 old fogies were the slaves of the Mother Sea King Human King, each and every one of their moves were extremely appalling. Each time they attacked, there would be a huge patch missing from the ancient race army. To the 8 of them, this 10 million strong ancient race army was something they could take down with the back of their hands. There was no need to retaliate at all against them. Looking at how those malevolent and horrid-looking ancient race beings were crying out sorrowfully right now, the disciples of the Battle Emperor sect felt their hearts freezing up. Even though it wasn't happening to them, the wails found their way striking into the core of their hearts as well. They were entirely rattled right now. Too horrifying. The methods of these powerful beings are way too cruel. Against the ancient race beings, there's no such word as cruel. The moment these ancient race beings catch hold of any beings of the thousands of races, they would resort to all sorts of torments to them as well. These guys have no humanity in them. Might be to the Mother Sea King Human King. Kill off all of these ancient race beings. Looking at the methods of the 8 of them, Grand Master Yun was clear that these were dark arts that they were using. Just where in the world did Lin Fan recruit these elderly beings? Grand Master Yun could not figure it out at all. However, he knew that the predicament this time around could be considered as tided through by now. With these 8 powerful old beings around, Sovereign King Chi and the others were of no threat. It was just that if they were to kill off so many ancient race armies, wouldn't that incur the wrath of the heavens will of the ancient saint world? The moment he thought about this, Grand Master Yun's face turned pale. Lin Fan, watch out for the heavens will of the ancient saint world. Grand Master Yun yelled out. The origins of the ancient race remained a legend. However, to Grand Master Yun, he felt that the ancient race beings were born from the heavens will of the ancient saint world. If they were to kill off these 10 million army warriors, something horrifying should probably happen. Mother Sea King Human King, you had better stop now. Sovereign King Jung was enraged right now. He had not expected the outcome to be as such. Just where in the world did these 8 old fogies come from? To think that they would be this strong. Now that the 10 million troops ancient race army was in their hands, there was no room for resistance at all. This was a one-sided massacre. Nope, I can't stop it right now. The moment these slaves of mine strike out, it's as though they're on crack or something. There's no way they can just stop right now. Lin Fan shrugged his shoulders and replied. The Tao of the Paradise was revolving continuously, taking in all the essence, spirit, and vitality of these ancient race beings. Even though the essence, spirit, and vitality given off by every single ancient race being was quite minimal, there were so many ancient race beings altogether. That amounted to quite a bit of it all. All of the souls that were brought by the Udo Ghost Emperor were cast by Lin Fan into the 18 levels of hell. The cultivation was endless right now, and the powers of the paradise were increasing. You beast! Sovereign King Chi was hopping in rage right now, as he could tolerate this no longer. Howling out in rage, he bolted out at Lin Fan. Green Hell Ancient Clock. encompass all living beings and steal their souls. Dong, dong. Suddenly, a weird-sounding ring of a bell rang right into Lin Fan's ears. The moment he heard the sound of this bell, Lin Fan felt his spirit rattle for a moment. It was as though something was going to get hooked away from him by the sound of this clanging bell. Lin Fan activated his paradise immediately to protect himself. The moment these bell sounds entered the paradise, they dissipated away. What's this? Lin Fan looked over at Sovereign King Qi. However, he caught sight of Sovereign King Qi holding on to a green-colored clock. There were all sorts of symbols lining the surface of this ancient clock, causing it to shine with a godly glow. Supreme Grade Dao Weapon, Ancient Race Holy Clock. A single glance of Lin Fan was all that was required for him to see through everything. Mother Fasterisk Sea King Human King, you must die here today. Sovereign King Qi blasted out. Flicking his finger, the holy clock in his hands burst forth with a brilliant gleam. This beam of light pierced straight into the void. With that, a thick and dense ancient saint aura burst forth from it. Kill, I knew it, the sovereign kings of the ancient race are rich FCKS. Seems like that's truly the case. Alright, that holy clock. Yours truly wants it now. This was the first time Lin Fan was coming across a treasure that could attack straight into one's heart. At the same time, he was coming up with some plans for it. If he could get that into his hands and cultivate it, he might be able to come up with some sort of an alarming treasure. Lin Fan stretched out his hands, ignoring the attacks of Sovereign King Qi and the others entirely as he reached out straight for that holy clock up in the void. The 5 fingers that were reaching out for the holy clock were thick like mountains. A series of powerful colossal dragons were coiling around it. Each colossal dragon brought with it an endless amount of power. HMPH, you want to steal the holy clock? We'll just have to see if you've got the capabilities then. Sovereign King Qi bellowed out, replying with a fist in retaliation, Heavenly Province. The paradise that was cultivated out by Sovereign King Qi was an entire country of its own. There were countless living beings within them, all seemingly close to the heavens itself. The fist landed squarely, causing the face of Sovereign King Qi to be filled with glee. However, it didn't take him long to realize that the Lin Fan's body was akin to crystallized walls. It started shattering bit by bit, and in its place were a series of tree branches. What's this? The face of Sovereign King Qi changed immediately. However, in the blink of an eye, his entire arm was wrapped around by those dense tree branches. Before he knew it, he was dragged within. Inside the paradise. Brothers, come on out. The prey is here. The Thunder Trainer King had been waiting for a long time now. The moment he caught sight of the paradise's crystallized walls flashing brightly, he got exhilarated as he swung out with the long whip in his hands. N-O-V-E-L-P-I-N-C Om. Insolent, Sovereign King Qi used a single hand to slap away the long whip. However, by the time he reacted, he found himself stuck within a part of the paradise. Oh, benefactor, if you lay down the butcher's knife, you will become a Buddha on the spot. Come, follow your trainer king here into the pure land of ultimate bliss. Receive my electroconvulsive therapy and you shall walk towards a brand new life from here on forth. The Thunder Trainer King was filled with a Buddhist glow right now as he commented compassionately. Courting death, the Sovereign King Qi burst out in a holler. To think that this human would dare to bring him into his paradise. This was completely courting death. Highs, the Thunder Trainer King let out a sigh of exasperation. In the blink of an eye, the entire ground trembled violently as the sky jerked into darkness. A series of howls came out. The dragons were growling while the tigers were roaring. The rocks were stretching out their great wings and flying around. All sorts of living beings were encircling the Sovereign King Qi from all directions. 13,000 living beings of the paradise were watching the Sovereign King Qi with covetous eyes. The tree branches of the mythical parasol tree were swooshing around as well as they broke out of the mud below. They coiled themselves around the Sovereign King Qi's body tightly. What in the world is this? Sovereign King Qi was in a huge shock right now. This is the reform of love. The Thunder Trainer King replied indifferently. He then shook his head and waved his hands gently, do it. Chapter 651, The Tragic Death of Sovereign King Qi. Chapter 651, The Tragic Death of Sovereign King Qi. Lin Fan had not expected that his paradise would develop to this extent. After taking Sovereign King Qi into his paradise, he had thought that he might require a bit of effort still from there on. To think that things would turn out to be so easy. At this moment, Sovereign King Qi was resisting fervently, killing everything everywhere. However, for these living beings, as long as they were within the paradise, they were indestructible. Each time they were killed, they would simply revive. As for the tree branches of the mythical parasol tree, they were like agile snakes that coiled around the sovereign King Chi tightly. B starred. Where have you sent sovereign King Chi to? Sovereign King Jung bellowed out. To think that the methods of this mother *C King human king would be this sinister. No hurry now, you'll be reunited with him before long. Lin Fan chuckled out as his hands grabbed out to that green hell ancient clock in the sky. So heavy, the moment he grabbed onto the green hell ancient clock, he could feel a vast energy emanating out. A supreme grade Tao weapon is different indeed. Even the weapon spirit within knows how to fight back. At the very moment Lin Fan made contact with the green hell ancient clock, the weapon spirit within was resisting wildly. Once it turned into a Tao weapon, it's a treasure that understood the Tao. As such, its methods were harsh, something that most people wouldn't be able to deal with at all. Mother *C King human king. You want to snatch the green hell ancient clock? That's a fool's dream, Sovereign King Jung hollered out as he slammed out with a palm strike. This palm strike brought with it a sharp beam of light that pierced through everything before it. The entire world seemed to have been sliced by it. This was the Sovereign King Jung's ultimate move, Big Dimensional Slash. The moment he deployed it, he could instantly rip through the void and slice every single dimension cleanly into two. C Ohm. The Fox Emperor and the Evil Alliance Palace Master looked at the green hell ancient clock in the void thirstily as well. The aura that was being emanated from this treasure even held something similar to an utmost treasure. If they could accumulate enough resources for it, who knew if it could turn into a lower grade utmost treasure? By then, this would truly be a peerless treasure. But at this moment, both of them repressed the greed in their hearts. The crux of the situation was the mother *C King human king before him. That guy had to be killed first. Once they were done with killing this mother *C King human king, they would then steal the treasure away and retreat immediately. After all, the influence that was spreading from those 8 old fogies was pretty depressing, to be honest. Even up to this point of time, none of them knew where those 8 old fogies came from. It was just that since this mother *C King human king chose to be this careless, they would have him pay the price for it. How is this possible? Sovereign King Jung could not believe this. To think that his big dimensional slash would dissipate into the winds the moment it made contact with the other party's body. There wasn't a single bit of damage at all. Green hell ancient clock, you had better be obedient. Lin Fan's powers channeled into his hands as he suppressed down the green hell ancient clock in a single move. The sounds of the bell ringing burst out wildly, one louder than the other. The green hell ancient clock was resisting wildly right now. Even though Lin Fan's cultivation state wasn't that high, his powers were extremely mighty. A single strike was as vast as the boundless seas, rendering one unable to defend. Within the paradise, the rage of the sovereign King Chi was endless. Damned mother *C King human king. How dare you try to steal the treasure of your sovereign king here? Go to hell, die. Even though this was within the paradise, the sovereign King Chi could still sense the signals of his green hell ancient clock. The green hell ancient clock was a supreme grade Tao weapon. Naturally, its powers were not to be underestimated. However, in the hands of the mother *C King human king, it seemed as though it couldn't hold on any longer. This was making the sovereign King Chi feel a little frightful. If the green hell ancient clock were to truly be taken away by the mother *C King human king, it would truly be over. Mother *C King human king, Lin Fan. I won't rest until I kill you. Sovereign King Chi howled out as his eyes turned redder by the moment. A massive aura burst forth from his body. Do you really think that you can kill your sovereign king here just because you took down sovereign King Wei with a single punch? I'll have you know that your sovereign king here isn't someone to be compared with that trash sovereign King Wei. At this moment, sovereign King Chi was enraged. To think that this mother *C King human king's paradise would be this strong that the living beings were totally unkillable. Not only that, the tree branches of the mythical parasol tree were constricting him. Each time they tightened, they would absorb the crystallized walls of his paradise, his law, and his essence spirit. Lights of the universe, longevity of the heavens. Burn, burn. In the blink of an eye, sovereign King Chi's aura suddenly turned berserk. He abandoned his own body as a golden universal elixir burst forth with a godly glow. Wherever this godly glow touched, all living beings would cease to exist. Mother *C King human king, your sovereign king is going to wreck your entire paradise. An illusory figure floated above this universal elixir as it howled out repeatedly. But just at this moment, something astonishing happened to sovereign King Chi. What's going on? Sovereign King Chi suddenly realized that his body was trembling right now. The brilliant gleam of the universal elixir flickered non-stop, turning redder by the second. You bloody brain-dead FCK. The spirit chi within this paradise is all of my making. At this moment, the spirit of Bigra floated out, showing an exasperated face. The moment Sovereign King Chi entered the paradise, the spirit of Bigra had been pumping out spirit chi relentlessly. The power of Bigra was ferocious, senseless and colorless. Even Sovereign King Chi did not realize that he was taking this thing in all the time. Damn it, suppress. Feeling the changes in his body, Sovereign King Chi's face changed. He used his boundless energy to try and suppress this berserk energy within his body. However, the more he resisted, the more berserk the energy got. It seeped right into the depths of his soul. In the blink of an eye, the tree branches of the mythical parasol tree ripped out as those thick branches wrapped themselves around the Sovereign King Chi tightly. Damn it, damn it. Sovereign King Chi could feel the powers within his body diminishing rapidly. The tree branches were sapping at his strength. Do it, haha, it's training time for your trainer king. The Thunder Trainer King burst out laughing manically. His long whip lashed out of his hand. All of you can go to hell. Sovereign King Chi's might was unparalleled. Even at this moment, he wasn't giving up on fighting back at all. Just at this moment, his expression changed yet again. He could feel a mushy sensation appearing within his anus. His face was turned into shades of red and white right now. What's this? Sovereign King Chi blared out. The moment flying heavens struck, it was the moment one's anus was destroyed. Seizing the opportunity when the Sovereign King Chi was distracted with resisting, the flying heavens which was hidden beneath the ground burst forth. Aiming straight at his butthole, it dashed into the sky. With an extremely high rotations per minute, it destroyed everything in its path. If it could even break through the penetrative barrier of an utmost being of the ancient race, there was nothing to say about the defenses of the Sovereign King Chi's anus. Brother Longzon, you guys hold it in for a little while. I've yet to start my training. The Thunder Trainer King was shocked right now. But, it was all too late for words right now. Bam! An exploding sound rang out. Sovereign King Chi's body burst into countless pieces of flesh and blood that sprayed out in all directions. That universal elixir looked extremely worn out as though it could be destroyed at any moment. Damn it! Amidst the countless pieces of flesh and meat, the voice of the Sovereign King Chi wailed out. However, multiple tree branches swooped in and pierced through these pieces, absorbing them up rapidly. Crystallized walls of the paradise. Essence spirit. Law. Every single last thing was taken in by the tree branches of the mythical parasol tree. In the blink of an eye, there wasn't even a single piece of scrap left. My training partner. The Thunder Trainer King was absolutely flabbergasted by the scene before him right now. He then lowered his head and covered it with his hands in extreme pain, showing that forlorn, helpless expression of his. Cruel. This was way too cruel for him. There was nothing left of that body at all for him. Chapter 652, Nefarious Path. Chapter 652, Nefarious Path. And just like that, Sovereign King Chi died within the paradise. Sensing that his connection with Sovereign King Chi was cut off, the green hell ancient clock jerked momentarily and vibrated more intensely. This was a supreme grade Dao weapon that had no master right now. The weapon spirit wasn't dumb. Immediately, it broke free of its control and wanted to make its escape. Wanna run? Lin Fan laughed out coldly. He was hell-bent on getting his hands on that green hell ancient clock. How could he allow that fella to escape? A gigantic palm of power encompassed the entire skies as it grabbed out at the green hell ancient clock. I'm a supreme grade Dao weapon. I'm just one step away from being an utmost treasure. You can't kill me. I've got my own encounters awaiting me. The weapon spirit within the green hell ancient clock began to rail out. A series of bell rings resounded across the sky as it delved into the void, wanting to escape. And that encounter of yours awaiting you is for you to leave with me. How could Lin Fan allow a treasure such as this to escape? It was extremely rare to catch a hold of such a rare treasure. A treasure that could attack one's spirits directly. If he could level this up to a certain state, it would definitely be incredibly formidable. N-O-V-E in .c ohm. Why did things come to this? For the green hell ancient clock to break free of its control on its own. Does it mean that Sovereign King Chi is already dead? Witnessing the sight before him, Sovereign King Jung's face was frightened. You want to snatch the green hell ancient clock? Dream on. Sovereign King Jung did not want to think too much any longer. His both arms shook out, causing tremors to spread through the entire void. Layer after layer, the void began to stack up against itself, trying to prevent Lin Fan's path forward from reaching the green hell ancient clock. Evil Alliance Palace Master, Fox Emperor. How long more are you guys going to continue watching idly? Sovereign King Jung blasted out. These two fellas. Damn them. The Evil Alliance Palace Master exchanged glances with the Fox Emperor and nodded together. Their figures flashed. However, the direction they flashed in was not towards Lin Fan. Instead, they delved into the void, reaching out for the green hell ancient clock. Evil Alliance Palace Master, Fox Emperor. The two of you shall die terrible deaths. The moment Sovereign King Jung caught sight of this, his expression changed. To think that those two FC King B** stards would be coveting the treasure. Haha, Sovereign King Jung, just hold him back for us, won't you? The Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor could both tell that this human was pretty strong. They might not be able to get the upper hand out of this. However, if they could get their hands on that treasure that struck at one's spirits, they would have earned big out of this. This supreme graded Dao weapon couldn't have been crafted by any mere ancient race being at all. The state of the battlefield right now had everyone from the Battle Emperor sect completely stumped by now. They had not expected the Mother *C King Human King to be this strong. To think that he could still hold his ground in a 1 versus 4. Just what sort of an encounter has that lad gone through once again? To think that he would have grown this strong. Grandmaster Yun was startled. Wasn't this speed of improvement way too fast? To think that he would have grown this much in just a span of 3 years. If he were given a bit more time, wouldn't his improvements leap into the heavens itself? But, this was good as well. The stronger Lin Fan was, the more benefits there were for the beings of the thousands of races. Everyone from the Battle Emperor sect watched this situation unfold before their eyes fixatedly with bated breaths. They were afraid that even a single sudden motion from them might cause a distraction for the Mother *C King Human King. The 8 old fogies were already rampaging through the entire ancient race army by now. It was a complete oppression. For them, the ancient race army was nothing more than ants beneath their feet. The moment he stepped down once, there would be a large patch full of the crushed and the dead. The Sovereign King Jung had given up by now as well. Even if there were reinforcements, it would all be too late to salvage this situation right now. FCK, how dare you guys try to snatch the treasure of yours truly? Looking at how those two fellas were grabbing out for the green hell ancient clock, Lin Fan was pissed. If they were to truly get their hands on it, wouldn't yours truly have worked so hard for nothing? Boom. Suddenly, a loud explosion boomed out. Lin Fan turned his gaze over and laughed out. The surrounding heavens and earth had long been sealed up by those 8 old fogies. While the green hell ancient clock might be strong, if it wanted to break through the seal laid down by those 8 old fogies, it was still quite a bit far off. At this moment, Lin Fan was no longer bothered about those two fellas. He turned his sight over to Sovereign King Jung. Mother *C King Human King. We'll take it that it's the ancient race's loss this time around. Can we just be done with this matter now? Sovereign King Jung asked out. Oh, since you're already here now, what do you think? Do you think it's alright? Lin Fan chuckled. Was this Sovereign King Jung some kind of a dumb *CK? Did he think that he could come and go as he wished? Didn't he have any regards for yours truly at all? Don't go overboard now. The ancient race isn't something you can offend so easily. Sovereign King Jung was angered now. The reason why he had relented earlier on wasn't because he was afraid of Lin Fan. It was because the green hell ancient clock was a supreme grade Dao weapon. Even amongst the ancient race, it was considered an extremely precious treasure. If it were stolen by the Evil Alliance Palace Master or the Fox Emperor, they would definitely be taking in a huge loss. Hey, yours truly here loves to rile up and find trouble with the ancient race now. Let me see what I can't offend about the ancient race then. Lin Fan shrugged his shoulders and sniggered. You. The eyes of Sovereign King Jung flashed with an ominous gleam. You? I've already spent more than enough time talking crap with you. Now, we'll see just what capabilities you have to hold on more. Lin Fan did not want to say anything any longer as he struck out in a jiffy. Damn it, Sovereign King Jung bellowed and returned a fist. He wanted to smash this Mother *C King Human King into bits with a single punch. That punch possessed an unparalleled might, as though there were many top-tiered ancient race beings contained within it, hollering out as well. Burn. Sovereign King Jung knew that this Mother *C King Human King before him had quite a formidable strength to him. Therefore, he did not dare to act casually as he incinerated an endless amount of Shenyang pills right away. All of a sudden, a berserk amount of energy erupted forth from the body of Sovereign King Jung. The moment Lin Fan caught sight of how Sovereign King Jung ignited tens of millions of Shenyang pills just like that, his eyes sparkled with excitement. Rich. This sovereign King Jung was way too rich. His physical body state now was that of a divine celestial level 8, universal elixir state being. Even though this punch might be ferocious, Lin Fan had the confidence of taking it on. But, just at this moment, Lin Fan realized that the void behind him were starting to vibrate. A horrifying aura was seeping out from within. Holy FCK, this fella is playing dirty. Lin Fan's brows creased. At the same time, he caught sight of the cruel smirk on Sovereign King Jung's face. A battle thorn that shone with a ghastly shine appeared behind Lin Fan. Suddenly, Lin Fan realized that the Shengyang pills that were expended by the Sovereign King Jung earlier on weren't used on that punch of his. They boosted this treasure of his. The ignition of tens of millions of Shengyang pills had allowed this treasure to enter a complete state of frenzy. To think that this battle thorn is yet another supreme graded Dao weapon. Lin Fan was elated right now. However, if he were to be pierced by this frenzied battle thorn right now, even his physical body state might not be able to withstand the blow. Lin Fan spun his body around and sent a furious punch onto the tip of that battle thorn. A berserk amount of energy ripped out of his body as well. Under the might of his punch, that battle thorn shook violently, sending out an even stronger force behind it. I'll swallow. An illusory figure of a rock appeared behind Lin Fan's back as he opened his mouth wide. Without any hesitation, he swallowed the entire battle thorn whole. Mother *C King Human King. How dare you swallow my treasure? You're courting your own death. Sovereign King Jung roared out, controlling the battle thorn to kill everything unknown in its way. But, in the blink of an eye, Sovereign King Jung's face changed. He had suddenly realized that he was being suppressed by some unknown thing, rendering him rooted to the spot. Beast, what have you done to me? Sovereign King Jung blared out. Lin Fan laughed out coldly, punching and kicking out at the same time. Black Tiger Steel's Heart, True Origins Crushing Kick. A pair of gigantic fists appeared before the face of Sovereign King Jung. You're courting death. Sovereign King Jung slapped out with his palm, causing these fists that had just appeared from the void to dissipate. But, just at that moment, a sinister-looking leg that followed a nefarious-looking path struck out at his groin area. This. Bam. Chapter 653, Blood Tribute. Chapter 653, Blood Tribute. The four great evil skills that Lin Fan had learned were full of miraculous uses, and were extremely horrific. This was especially the case for Twisting Heaven and Earth, and True Origins Crushing Kick. These two were the most horrifying of them all. In fact, for Lin Fan, these were extraordinarily unique skills on their own. Repelling Lin Fan's attack, Sovereign King Jung had wanted to laugh out wildly. However, in the blink of an eye, he felt the hair on his back standing entirely upright. It was as though there was some terrifying power surging towards him. All of a sudden, the sky changed colors as the ground began to crack. For Sovereign King Jung, it was as though his entire world had just collapsed. The pain in his nuggets bubbled its way into his heart. He was unable to pull himself away from this pain. This feeling, arg hhhhhhhhhhhhh. No matter how strong he was, he still screamed out at the top of his lungs at this moment. This tragic cry was extremely sorrowful, bringing with it a sense of melancholy. Pain, extreme pain. Sovereign King Jung's eyes rolled around wildly as his hands grabbed at his crotch. How could this be? Your Sovereign King here has already trained himself up to a state of indestructibility. How could I still feel pain? Sovereign King Jung could not understand, nor did he want to understand. After all, this pain was way too unbearable. Looking at the state Sovereign King Jung was in right now, Lin Fan smiled calmly. This was a situation he had seen too many times now. It could be said that he was long used to it. However, when he caught sight of how terrible Sovereign King Jung was looking right now, he still could not help but chuckle out. Sovereign King Jung, how does it feel? Are you finally feeling some sensations that you had long lost? Lin Fan asked casually. What have you done to me? As an ancient race being, Sovereign King Jung was insusceptible to pain. However, to think that it would be useless at this moment. That pain within his body rumbled furiously like tidal waves, one taller than the other. Isn't it obvious? All I did was give you a kick in the nuts. Lin Fan giggled out. By now, Sovereign King Jung had lost his fighting powers entirely. As for Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor, both of them were engaged in a private duel for the Green Hell Ancient Clock. Neither of them wanted it to fall in the hands of the other party. Hence, even while grabbing at the Green Hell Ancient Clock, they were trying to backstab the other party as well. Despicable, shameless. Sovereign King Jung could almost feel his tears coming out right now. The ancient race beings were supreme existences in this world. How could they tear out? But for the current sovereign King Jung, it was truly painful. Truly, very painful. It was so painful that he was about to go mad. The throbbing pain of his nuggets were being transmitted over to his brain. The powers within his body were rumbling furiously, wanting desperately to curb this pain. However, it was all useless. Following the increase in the pain intensity, sovereign King Jung could no longer endure it. Clutching his crotch with both hands, he rolled around on the ground. On that pitch-black forehead of his, gigantic beads of sweat began to drip down one after another. Mother *CKING Human King. You'll definitely die a horrible death. This was something that the sovereign King Jung had never once experienced. There had never been a powerful being who was so despicable with his skills. But, this Mother *King Human King before him. He seemed as though he was extremely well versed in these skills. What's happening? Why's the sovereign King Jung rolling on the ground screaming now? I've got no idea. All I saw was a leg that had extended from the void all of a sudden. Following that, this happened to sovereign King Jung. That must be the ultimate move of the Mother *King Human King. To think that it would be this strong to take down the sovereign King Jung with a single kick. This is simply way too scary. The Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor are still trying to vie for the treasure. Why isn't the Mother *King Human King stepping up to stop them? What are you worried about? Can't you see how calm the Mother *King Human King looks? He'll definitely be able to take care of them later. Oh, that makes sense. Grandmaster Yun was feeling a little awkward at this moment. He had witnessed the kick as clearly as he could have. The kick had landed squarely on the little donger of the sovereign King Jung. However, what Grandmaster Yun could not understand was that in case of a powerful being such as sovereign King Jung, his body should have already been cultivated to a certain toughness. How was he still feeling pain from this? Could it be that there was something different about that kick earlier? As for Grandmaster Wu He of the Battle Emperor sect, his entire face was flushed red right now. His heart was palpitating unusually. To think that this would be the final outcome on things. By now, the vast, boundless sea of 10 million troops ancient race army was already left with less than half of them. Sovereign King Wei was dead. Sovereign King Qi was dead. Even Sovereign King Jung wasn't too far from death's door right now. As for the Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor, they weren't that much of an issue now. At this moment, even if the Mother *King Human King weren't around any longer, they'd be able to hold out. While they might not be able to kill those two with their own strength, it'd be enough to have them retreating. Just what sort of a talented prodigy was this Mother *King Human Emperor? By the looks of it, he didn't seem to be all that old. But, to think that he would possess such strength to him. This was simply way too horrifying. It's getting late now, Sovereign King Jung. Time to send you on your way. Lin Fan laughed coldly. The experience points he had gotten from Sovereign King Qi's kill earlier on was pretty decent. If he were to kill Sovereign King Jung as well, he would be more than halfway through his experience bar right now. Within the paradise, the supreme grade Dao weapon, Battle Thorn, was already being split up by the others. As a supreme grade Dao weapon, the amount of power that it possessed was incredible. Ever since it was brought into the paradise, it brought with it a great deal of strength as well. This was especially the case for treasures such as Demon City, Flying Heavens, and the others. They borrowed the strength of this supreme graded Dao weapon and comprehended quite a bit of law from it. It would certainly be useful for their growth in the future. Beast, I swear that the ancient race will not rest until we have you dead. Sovereign King Jung howled out. However, he couldn't move even if he wanted to right now. Lin Fan opened up his palm and swiped every bit of valuables on Sovereign King Jung's body clean. There was only a single storage ring. Opening it up, Lin Fan nodded his head in approval. 100 million Shenyang pills. This wasn't considered too little. He himself had just a bit more than 200 million Shenyang pills. While this might seem a lot on paper, each time he went ham, the amount of Shenyang pills expended was extremely horrifying. Sovereign King Jung was looking at Lin Fan with hatred right now. That malevolent expression on his face was enough to have anyone getting goosebumps just looking at him. Little beast, even if you want to kill me, I'll have you pay the price for it. Your sovereign king here shall ensure that you'll have no place to hide from this day forth. Your sovereign king here will have you watching everyone you care and love die at your side one by one. Your sovereign king here curses you. I'll curse that you will have a hell of a death. Blood tribute. Suddenly at this moment, Sovereign King Jung's body gleamed with a sinister red glow. From all 7 apertures of his head, fresh blood oozed out. The blood seemed to possess a consciousness as it began to twist and contort into an evil-looking symbol. The moment Grand Master Yun caught sight of his face changed into shock. Lin Fan, watch out now. That's the blood tribute of the Sovereign King Jung. If you're tainted by that blood, no matter where you head to from here on forth, the ancient race will always be able to track you down. Ha ha ha, it's too late, it's all too late, I'll have all of you dragged down into hell with your Sovereign King here. The Lord Utmost Being will never let you guys off. Sovereign King Jung laughed wildly. This laugh was extremely frightening to hear. Everyone's face changed immediately. No matter where they were, they would be found by the ancient race. Didn't that mean that there was nowhere they could hide ever? Being tracked openly by the ancient race. What difference was there from being dead? Oh, to think that you would still dare to try some weird antics at the brink of your death. Alright then, it's time to let you know today that your so-called blood tribute has as much use to your mother *C King here as pubic hair. Lin Fan placed his feet forward. Instantly, he appeared before the face of the Sovereign King Jung. Blood C started churning. I'll accept your essence blood then. ... And no. Chapter 654. Please give some face. Chapter 654. Please give some face. Sovereign King Jung had not expected this man before him to be this strong. Not only were his powers boundless and relentless, every single strike brought with it a devastating effect as well. Even he could not dare to say that he could take down the other party with just his powers alone. With that said, it wouldn't be so easy for the other party to kill him either. The only thing that startled the Sovereign King Jung was that this mother *C King human king would have these many tricks up his sleeves. There was no way to tell of his true background and capabilities at all. Who would have thought that the simple-looking kick alone would wield such power to it? Under that single kick, his entire battle power was lost. What sort of a godly move was that? Even the Lord Utmost Being did not have any moves as such. Blood C was like a bloodthirsty demon right now that sucked the Sovereign King Jung's essence blood relentlessly. You're a beast. The Sovereign King Jung was realizing that his essence blood was being sucked up by the other party continuously. However, he couldn't fight back at all. It had been a long time since Blood C had leveled up. If Lin Fan could gather enough today, it might be time to have it evolve to the next stage. Ding. Blood C experience points plus 100,000 feet. Ding. Blood C experience points plus 100,000 feet. ... The notifications from the system rang out relentlessly. Lin Fan could feel his Blood C strengthening as he let out a wry smile. Sovereign King Jung was a powerful being of divine celestial level 8, universal elixir state. Every single drop of essence blood from his body was extremely valuable. This wasn't something that could be compared to that Sovereign King Wei, who was forcefully boosted up. If a divine celestial level 1, true state being were to refine and cultivate with even a single drop of his essence blood, he would be able to reach the realm state immediately. That was the way to ensure instant success. Broop, broop. At this moment, Lin Fan was starting to realize that there were some changes in his paradise. Within that vast and boundless paradise, a gigantic sea of blood was starting to grow out of nowhere. This sea of blood possessed an immense amount of powers to it. It was as though every single drop of blood possessed some sort of a miraculous use to it on its own. Ding. Congratulations on leveling Blood C. Ding. Blood C level 10. Ding. As long as the sea of blood doesn't perish, your body doesn't perish. Instantly, Lin Fan opened up both of his eyes, to think that it would craft out an entire sea of blood. As for Sovereign King Jung, his entire body was dried up right now, without a single trace of power after losing all of his essence blood. It's getting harder to level Blood C now. To think that it would only level up after killing these many ancient race beings. The essence blood required for it is simply way too much. Ever since Lin Fan had ascended into the ancient saint world from the lower world, he had been killing the entire time. Only God knew how many ancient race beings he had slain so far. However, it took him all the way till now to gather enough experience points to raise the level of Blood C up to level 10. This Blood C is way too sinister. Lin Fan flicked out his finger. A ball of fire floated gently into his paradise, before being tossed into his Blood C. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the Blood Sea rumbled furiously. An endless amount of sinister aura began evaporating before disappearing within the world. Ding! Congratulations on killing Divine Celestial Level 8, Universal Elixir State Sovereign King Jung. Ding! Experience points plus 800,000 feet. ... Sovereign King Jung is dead. All three Sovereign Kings of the ancient race are dead. We're saved. At this moment, all the disciples of Battle Emperor Sect who caught sight of how Sovereign King Jung turned into dust before disappearing into the air let out a look of glee. At the start when the ancient race army had attacked, they were completely scared to hell. However, the situation had changed so much so quickly that they were finding it difficult to accept these facts. Haha, I've got it. The green hell ancient clock belongs to me now. Just at this moment, a series of laughter burst out from the void. Evil Alliance Palace Master, this is something that your emperor here has gotten for himself. Therefore, it should belong to your emperor. The Fox Emperor was delighted. After a tiresome battle, this treasure was finally in his hands as he had wished for. Even the weapon spirit within had been subdued by the Fox Emperor himself. The face of the Evil Alliance Palace Master was extremely terrible right now. So close. He was just so close. That doesn't belong to you. That belongs to me. Looking at those two men in the void, Lin Fan chuckled and said. The moment this voice rang out, it caused both the Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor to snap back to their senses. Especially when they saw how Sovereign King Jung was slain by this mother *C King Human King, their faces changed immediately. The Fox Emperor steadied his spirits. This treasure is already in the hands of your emperor here. You shall only dream of getting it. In a flash, the Fox Emperor's figure shifted as he disappeared into the void. For the Fox Emperor, if he didn't run away at this moment, when else would be the right moment to run? This was it. Lin Fan shook his head, looking at that dumb fool try. Indeed, it wasn't long before a yell of shock rang out. This place is sealed. I can't get out of it. Damn it. The figure of the Fox Emperor appeared once more. This time around, the look on his face was absolutely horrendous. The moment the Evil Alliance Palace Master heard these words, his face changed immediately, sensing that the situation wasn't good now. Master, the 8 old fogies were done with massacring the 10 million strong ancient race army now as they returned behind Lin Fan's back. Run, go on and run. Why aren't you running anymore? Lin Fan floated in the air gently and asked in an indifferent voice. Mother *C King Human King. Are you really bent on killing us no matter what? The Fox Emperor glared at Lin Fan. He wasn't afraid of Lin Fan, he was afraid of the 8 old fogies behind him. The aura that was given off by them was really repressing. If they were to strike out, he might be done in by them in a split second. Grandmaster Yun, this has nothing to do with me. Let me go. The Evil Alliance Palace Master looked at Grandmaster Yun and called out. He knew that this mother *C King Human King was a madman. To think that he would even dare to kill the sovereign kings of the ancient race. It was evident that he wasn't afraid of them at all. However, if Grandmaster Yun were to speak up for him, he might still stand a chance to live. Now, tell me, aren't you guys just plain stupid? Your life and death are in the control of your mother *C King here. What has this got to do with Grandmaster Yun? Lin Fan laughed out. Regarding the intent of the Evil Alliance Palace Master, how could he not know of it? Looking at how this mother *C King Human King would dare to scold him, the Evil Alliance Palace Master was angered for a brief moment. However, he instantly suppressed the anger back down into his stomach. Mother *C King Human King, what do you want then? The Evil Alliance Palace Master asked. You shouldn't ask me what I want. Your son was killed by the utmost being of the ancient race. Yet, you come before me right now seeking vengeance, and now ask me what I want. Are you honestly retarded or what? Lin Fan chuckled out. I'm done with seeking vengeance. For the sake of his life, the Evil Alliance Palace Master couldn't think about anything else right now. As long as he could make it out of here alive, he would definitely hunt down this scumbag. November LBJNN. Haha, Lin Fan burst out laughing at this moment. He then turned his gaze to the Fox Emperor. Fox Emperor, hand me the green hell ancient clock. The Fox Emperor looked at Lin Fan. His heart was filled with reluctance right now, with a hesitating look on his face. This was a bloody rare treasure. If he were to give it up just like this, he would be really indignant. Mother *C King Human King, your emperor here is willing to give you something in exchange. The Fox Emperor replied after thinking for a long time. Bloody hell, how dare you trample on the dignity I tried to give you and try to bargain with me? Alright, go forth and cripple these guys. Bring them to my face after that. Lin Fan did not want to continue the conversation any longer. If he were to strike out personally, things might get a little difficult. However, if it was these 8 old fogies, that was a different story altogether. Yes, master. The old fogies nodded their heads together. They then burst forth towards the Fox Emperor and the Evil Alliance Palace Master. Mother *C King Human King, don't you go overboard now. The faces of the Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor changed immediately as they yelled out. It was fast. Before long, the Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor were tossed before Lin Fan's face by the old fogies like two dead dogs. So strong. Grand Master Yun's heart jerked momentarily when he caught sight of this. He did not know how strong those old fogies truly were. However, in that instant, he understood it finally. The 8 old fogies, their true strength was definitely that at Divine Celestial Level 10, Eternal God state. That could be concluded because even the Fox Emperor and the Evil Alliance Palace Master couldn't even last a single round of fighting. Lin Fan played with the green Hell Ancient Clock in his hands right now before tossing it into his storage. Mother *C King Human King, please don't kill me. Please let me go. The Evil Alliance Palace Master cried out in fear. He had not expected these 8 old fogies to be this strong. The moment they struck out, the 2 of them were subjugated instantly without any chance of fighting back at all. How could Lin Fan possibly let these 2 go? However, at that instant, Lin Fan frowned. Looking up into the void, he saw a pair of gigantic hands ripping through the seal that was set up ferociously. Accompanying it was a roaring voice. Mother *C King Human King, this matter here, it's the fault of our Evil Alliance. Please give your senior here some face and let him off. But just at this moment, yet another voice boomed through the void. Mother *C King Human King, I am the old master of the fox race. Please give me some face. Could we just let this matter of my grandson off at this point? Chapter 655, I'll take them away first. You can FCK them up afterward. Chapter 655, I'll take them away first. You can FCK them up afterward. Holy FCK, where did these new fellas spout out from yet again? Lin Fan was kind of exasperated right now. He was in the middle of a good walloping, and now 2 powerful beings decided to butt in yet again. Not only that, one of them was even using his hands to tear the seals. Didn't this mean that the powers of these 2 surpassed that of these 8 old fogies? Bam! Far across in the distance, red clouds were rumbling as the sky became the stage for a weird phenomenon. This momentum that was being brought forth was really intimidating. A single glance was enough to tell that these were no ordinary guys. Haha, the Patriarch is here. Mother *C King Human King, your death is here. The Evil Alliance Palace Master was exhilarated right now. At first, he had thought that he was going to die right here. To think that the Patriarch would arrive at this moment. In the eyes of the Evil Alliance Palace Master, the Patriarch was a peerless powerful being. In fact, even if he were to face up with the utmost being of the ancient race, he would be able to remain calm at the very least. Old Master, save me. This Mother *C King Human King is trying to kill me. Initially, the Fox Emperor was bawling his eyes out. However, he had begun to calm down now. His eyes shone with a gleeful look. To think that the old master would be here. But, he knew that he hadn't informed anyone of him coming here. Didn't this mean that the old master has always been tailing him all the time? The moment this thought popped into the mind of the Fox Emperor, he could not help but feel strange about it. Initially, the position of the Fox Emperor belonged to the old master. Later on, the old master stepped down from the seat in order to enter seclusion for his own training. The seat was then meant for the Fox Emperor's father. Unfortunately, his father was killed by an ancient race being in a moment of carelessness. With that, the position then landed onto the current Fox Emperor, something he had been extremely elated about. However, the thought that every single action undertaken by him was being observed by the old master sent a feeling of discomfort all over him. He felt as though he was being voyeured upon. Then again, if the old master hadn't been checking on him on the sly, no one would have known what had happened if he had died here today. Therefore, in hindsight, this was pretty good as well. This proved that the old master was someone who cared about his grandson. At that moment, the Fox Emperor's heart felt as though it was cruising on a slow-flowing river of happiness. The feeling of being cared for was simply way too good. At this moment, Lin Fan wanted to scold out. Wasn't this some FC King sham? These 2 bags of experience points in his hands were going to be taken away from him midway. And, by the looks of it, they wouldn't ever allow him to kill these 2 fellas. How much money was one's face worth? If yours truly were to give them some face, wouldn't yours truly have no face to speak of then? Evil Alliance Patriarch, old master of the fox race. Looking at the 2 figures who brought with them a boundless aura in the sky, Grand Master Yun felt his heart tighten up as well. These were both powerful beings. Within the syndicate of the Evil Alliance, there were many powerful beings. Each of the 10 patriarchs were extremely strong, and ruled over a single area. As for the old master of the fox race, he was a powerful being from the previous generation of the fox race. He had been hidden from the world for a long time now. With that, his personal cultivation state would be so high that it would be almost limitless right now. Now that these two godlike figures were here, it'd naturally be impossible to kill off these men. Lin Fan, these two fellas are really strong. It'd be best not to trample on their wrong foot. Before Lin Fan knew it, Grandmaster Yun had appeared beside him and whispered. Lin Fan looked up into the void. Those two men who were filled with an overbearing aura had his small little heart and guts palpitating a little. Grandmaster Yun, if I were to compare these two fellas with the utmost being of the ancient race, who is the stronger one? Lin Fan asked. Grandmaster Yun looked over at Lin Fan, wondering why he asked the question. However, he answered nevertheless. Of course, it'd be an utmost being of the ancient race. Even though these two might be divine celestial level 10, eternal God state beings, no one knows of the true cultivation state of the utmost being of the ancient race, or even how high it can truly get. What if I were to compare them with the doppelganger of the utmost being of the ancient race then? Who is the stronger one? Lin Fan asked again. Alright, I've got it. Lin Fan nodded his head. He was clear about the situation right now. Old master, please seek vengeance for me. This man has killed your precious great-granddaughter. My poor little daughter. To think that she was slain mercilessly by this mother**C King Human King. Oh, how my heart stings. Fox Emperor screamed out in anguish. Patriarch, please take revenge for me. My child has been slain by this mother**C King Human King. That poor son of mine. He died without knowing how and why. Oh, how my heart stings. The Evil Alliance Palace Master screamed out in equal anguish. Your mothers. Lin Fan was indignant right now. These two fellas, each one of them were better at acting pitiful than the other. Back when they were snatching the treasure, each one of them was more energetic than the other. To think that they would start to play out the emotional card right now. The Evil Alliance Patriarch and the Old Master of the Fox Emperor placed down their hands, indicating for these two to stay calm. Looking at Lin Fan, they continued, Mother**C King Human King, let this matter rest as such. What do you say? Even though their voices were calm, it seemed as though they were talking about something that he should never disobey. They weren't bothered about this Mother**C King Human King in the least bit. In fact, they had already made plans to kill him right at this place when they were making their way here. If not for the fact that someone had asked them for a favor to let him off, they wouldn't be doing this right now. These two fellas look pretty FC King strong. Lin Fan's mind could not help but go astray at this moment. However, he was rattled when he turned his gaze over to the disciples of the Battle Emperor sect, who were looking at him right now. What was up with those expressions of theirs? Each and every one of them were looking at him with a gaze of expectation. It was as though he was the single unparalleled hero of the world that they were revering at this moment. Holy FCK, this is a downright predicament. If I were to bow down in cowardice right now, I'd definitely lose all the face that I have. Lin Fan's heart was in extreme pain right now. This was the type of scene that he did not want to have to come across ever. It was tough being a hero, man. Mother**C King Human King. At this moment, the tone of the Evil Alliance Patriarch and Old Master of the Fox Emperor turned harsher, evidently somewhat displeased. It was already enough respect that they were giving by allowing the conversation to drag on till now. If the other party still did not know what was good for him, they did not mind striking out. Evil Alliance Patriarch, Old Master of the Fox Race. I am the Grand Master of the Cloud Sect. This Mother**C King Human Emperor here is a good friend of the sect. Grandmaster Yun could sense the situation getting tense. The worst of it all was that from Lin Fan's expression, he seemed to be hesitating about something. From his understanding of this guy back from 3 years ago, he knew that this lad wasn't someone to bow down that easily. If this were anyone else in this situation right now, there would be nothing to consider about. They would definitely give the other party some face. But with this lad here, things might truly not go that way. Little doll of the Cloud Sect, this has nothing to do with you. The Old Master of the Fox Race spoke up coldly. He didn't give Grandmaster Yun the slightest bit of respect. The moment Grandmaster Yun heard these words, his face turned pretty terrible. Bloody hell, these two old fogies were just taking advantage of their seniority. While Grandmaster Yun would acknowledge them as powerful beings from the previous generation, no matter what, he was the Grandmaster of the Cloud Sect right now. However, be it then. He would just endure for now. Endure. Lin Fan, are you thinking about FCing them up? Grandmaster Yun whispered stealthily. Yes, Lin Fan nodded his head. Good, tell you what, I'll take everyone from the Battle Emperor sect and have them leave with me first. You take care later on. Grandmaster Yun replied. Don't worry, Lin Fan refused to believe that he couldn't take these guys down. He was someone with 8 divine celestial level 10, eternal god state beings with him. Oh, right, that giant sculpture of the Battle Emperor sect is a good thing. When you're going to make your escape later on, don't forget to take it with you. As though something had just struck him, Grandmaster Yun added on. Oh, Lin Fan's eyebrows jumped a little. He looked over at that stone sculpture standing idly and his eyebrows creased in joy. To think that there would be a treasure. After that, Grandmaster Yun began to retreat slowly. Without making any sudden movements, he brought the masses of the Battle Emperor sect together with him into his paradise. Even though the Evil Alliance Patriarch and the Old Master of the Fox race were strong, they wouldn't touch him. After all, he was the Grand Master of the Cloud sect. If they were to kill him, it would be akin to declaring war against the Cloud sect. By then, every single Old Master that was in seclusion within their sect would come forth and hunt them down as well. And at that time, no matter how strong the Evil Alliance or the Fox race was, they would still have to consider their options. Evil Alliance Patriarch, Old Master of the Fox race, the Cloud sect shall not stick our hands into this affair. We'll leave here now, Grandmaster Yun spoke up. Without waiting for the masses to reply, he left the place. Yes, a wise man recognizes his circumstances. The Old Master of the Fox race nodded his head in approval, evidently heartened. Do you release? The Evil Alliance Patriarch raised his voice. Chapter 656, Miscalculated. Chapter 656, Miscalculated. Dog's tea trash. Let go of me, otherwise, you'll die without even a burial ground. The Fox Emperor, whose face was swollen entirely from the bashings, yelled out at Lin Fan's feet. When the 8 old fogies struck out together earlier on, it was a total bullying. There was no way they could fight back at all. But now that the Old Master of the Fox race was here, the Fox Emperor didn't feel fear any longer. In his opinion, the Old Master of the Fox race was the strongest existence there should be. Even though the Fox Emperor did not know why the Old Master of the Fox race did not strike out, in his eyes, the Mother *C King Human King was no more than a dead man walking. From this day forth, he would definitely hunt this guy down relentlessly till he was dead. Why should I let them off? Lin Fan chuckled gently. If they were indignant, FCK it all then. Even though these two fellas were really strong, Lin Fan wasn't afraid of them. At the most, he'd just die, wouldn't he? But, who was afraid of whom then? There had never been anyone who could force him to bow down. It didn't matter whether their strength was above his or not. At the most, they'd just go for a big round of FCK it-ups. What did you say? The Old Master of the Fox race was angered as he asked again harshly. You're trying to court death, Even though there's someone watching over you, if you don't watch your attitude and know your place, you've got no one to blame for your death. Ha ha, Lin Fan burst out laughing. Yours truly, Lin Fan, has never ever required anyone's protection. Crack, how dare you? The moment the Evil Alliance Patriarch and the Old Master of the Fox race caught sight of the scene before them, their faces changed immediately. However, it was all too late. The Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor were both killed by Lin Fan in the blink of an eye, and their bodies were cast into his paradise. Within the paradise, their laws, physical bodies, essence spirit, etc., anything that was useful was all absorbed within the paradise. There wasn't even a scrap of them that was left once everything was over. What do I not dare to? Isn't it just killing? If you've got the guts, come and FCK me up. So what if you guys are divine celestial level 10, eternal god state beings? Your father here wasn't even afraid of the utmost being of the ancient race greater than do you think your father would be scared of you guys? Lin Fan's figure flashed as he inched towards the stone sculpture of the Battle Emperor sect gradually. Today, no one shall be able to spare you from our wrath. Go to hell. The Old Master of the Fox race was enraged right now as his ominous aura filled the sky endlessly. It materialized into a physical blow that struck down at Lin Fan. In the blink of an eye, that might of his encompassed the entire heaven and blanketed the earth. Even Lin Fan could feel this tremendous threat looming. At this moment, the 8 old fogies appeared instantly. As they retaliated with their 8 palm strikes, the result was entirely earth-shattering, holding back against the attacks of the Evil Alliance Patriarch and the Old Master of the Fox race. No velp in .c You're both at the eternal god state. Do you guys really think you can bully me because I've got nothing up my sleeves? Lin Fan laughed out, using a single hand to take in that stone sculpture into his storage. After he had killed the Evil Alliance Palace Master and the Fox Emperor, he had gained quite a bit of benefits from them. With that, the experience points he had increased as well. You really think that these 8 trashes will be able to safeguard your life? They're only good to see, but that's all they amount to. The eternal God state isn't something an ant such as yourself can understand. The Evil Alliance Patriarch and the Old Master of the Fox race looked at these 8 old fogies as their eyes shone with a true disdain. In the blink of an eye, the Evil Alliance Patriarch bellowed out while his body started changing rapidly. Pointing out with his finger, a tiny spot of light exploded as it slammed out onto the body of one of the old fogies. Bam! How did this happen? The moment Lin Fan caught sight of everything before him, he frowned. No matter what, these 8 old fogies were divine celestial level 10, eternal God state beings as well. To think that one of them would start coughing out blood immensely after just a single strike from the Evil Alliance Patriarch. In fact, even his entire aura had withered down. HMPH. Flashy without any substance. Even though the 8 of them are also eternal God state beings, their bodies have long been emptied out. Against the face of a true eternal God state being, they're as good as paper. The Old Master of the Fox race lambasted out. Opening his arms wide, a gigantic door from the Fox world opened up above his head. The door opened out as a horrifying 9-tailed fox appeared, spitting a mouthful of fire with it. One of the old fogies dodged immediately. However, he still received half a body's worth of burns. Holy FCK, I may have miscalculated this. At this moment, it suddenly struck Lin Fan. Even though he might have repaired the cultivation roots of the old fogies, it had been a really short time nevertheless. Therefore, even though they might be at the eternal God state, their strength was definitely not up to the mark just yet. This was especially the case now that they were faced up with 2 peerlessly powerful beings such as the Evil Alliance Patriarch and the Old Master of the Fox race. They were just too weak in comparison. FCK this sh*t. I've FCKED up. At this point, Lin Fan retreated instantly without thinking about anything. Turning into a streak of light, he activated so near, yet so far to its maximum. Retreat. Lin Fan did not have to hesitate at all. If he couldn't win against them, then he might as well run. You wanna run? Let's see how you can run now. The Evil Alliance Patriarch and the Old Master of the Fox race sneered coldly. Opening their gigantic hands, the entire world seemed to be shrinking down as though every last thing in this world was under their control. 8 mortal realms into 1. Universe into 1. Seal. In the blink of an eye, Lin Fan's face changed. To think that these 2 old fellas would seal up the heaven and earth, rendering him unable to escape at all. Yours truly's not going to believe in this sh*t today. 9 sword wills. Destroy. Pointing out his finger, a tremendous sword will erupted out from Lin Fan. That finger was bent on destroying the boundaries of the seal. Boom. A massive explosion caused Lin Fan to be deflected 100 miles away. So resolute. To think that it would be useless. Lin Fan's brows creased. He could sense that this was going to be troublesome. It's useless. You're not going to escape this place today. You shall never be able to understand the true might of the eternal God state. The Evil Alliance Patriarch laughed wildly. His laughter was extremely creepy. At this moment, Lin Fan truly realized that the might of the eternal God state wasn't something that could be described with mere words. In fact, it was already admirable that he was even able to withstand to this point with just a divine celestial level 5, essence spirit state to his name. If it were any other beings of his level, they might have already disintegrated just under the aura alone. If not for the fact that his reserves and background were firm, he might have been slain just by revealing his face alone. Paradise, shrink, boundless energy. Lin Fan wasn't going to bother exchanging blows with these 2 guys. Instead, he concentrated his energy and had it burst forth at the confinement. Bam! Dumb thing, you're not going to be able to run. All of a sudden, Lin Fan realized that the space around him was starting to firm and harden up. His blood, powers, essence spirit, etc., everything was solidifying. Shenyang pills. Incinerate all of them. Demon City. Flying heavens. ... All of you, go blow up this barrier. At this moment, Lin Fan's powers climbed repeatedly. The big ancient demon held out furiously as his powers went into a frenzy. Slamming out with a punch, he shattered the entire solidified space. Bloody FCK, I'm going to turn into a pauper once more. Evil Alliance Patriarch, Old Master of the Fox race, you 2 damned fellas. One day, I'll have both of you piercing one another after swallowing my bigra. Lin Fan's heart was throbbing right now. These were his complete savings. Just what sort of a background does this lad have? Even though his cultivation state isn't that high, how in the world could he cause such an immense amount of power to erupt forth? The old master of the fox race felt his spirits rattled. No matter his background, we've got to kill him. All right, sever. Instantly, Lin Fan could feel the hair on his back standing up. He was being locked up, a series of sharp flashes. As he caught sight of the old master of the fox race moving all 10 of his fingers, 10 beams of light pierced through the void at him. It was as though the entire void was about to be sliced open. This was the skill of severing. Once it was cultivated to a certain state, it could sever anything from time and space to even the future. For the old master of the fox race, it didn't matter how strong this mother**C king human king was. He would still have to bury his grudges in here today. Boom! The heavens and earth trembled as a series of explosions rang out. Mother**C king human king. Today, I shall have you turn into the mother**C king dead dog. But just at this moment, something caused the evil alliance patriarch and the old master of the fox race to be stunned. Just what in the world is this? Chapter 657, quite the scary aftermath. Chapter 657, quite the scary aftermath. That remarkable power that could sever through anything in this world was blocked away. A gigantic and ancient-looking smelt stood tall between the heavens and earth, repelling the severing power completely. The moment that amount of energy made contact with the heaven and earth smelt, it dissipated entirely. What's this treasure? The faces of the evil alliance patriarch and the old master of the fox race changed immediately. They now bore a look of greed in their eyes. To them, this human was like a piece of fish meat on their chopping boards, ready to be sliced up easily. Bloody hell, these guys are really way too troublesome. Indeed, eternal God state beings are extremely powerful. Even if I can FCK up divine celestial level 7 powerful beings, I'm really not a match for eternal God state beings. What should I do? At this moment, Lin Fan began pondering. He had to think up of a plan, no matter what. Patriarch, given your wide knowledge, what do you suppose this treasure is? The old master of the fox race asked. I've got no idea, but, if it can defend against our attacks, it's evidently an utmost treasure. I'm supposing that humans should be hiding within it right now. The evil alliance patriarch replied. That's just as well. Time for me to check out just what sort of a treasure it is then. The old master of the fox race spread out his fingers with one hand, pushing forth with a boundless amount of power. He wanted to seize this mysterious smelt. However, the moment his fingers made contact with it, they exploded out immediately as though it had caused some sort of a reflective reaction. Indeed, it's a treasure. To think that I couldn't even lift it up. The old master of the fox race felt excited as he remarked in glee. Old master of the fox race, let's join our forces and cultivate this smelt for ourselves. Since that fella doesn't want to come out, we'll cultivate him along with it. The evil alliance patriarch commented. All right. Instantly, the evil alliance patriarch and the old master of the fox race flipped their hands together, forming all sorts of mysterious hand seals. These hand seals surrounded the smelt, bringing with them a strong power of refinement. Fox God refinement. Instantly, the illusory image of the gigantic red nine-tailed fox opened its humongous mouth, spitting out an endless amount of fire that burnt the heaven and earth smelt. Bloody hell, these bunch of brain-dead FCKs. This heaven and earth smelt belongs to the system. You guys think that you're enough to refine it? Retarded. Lin Fan had utmost confidence in his heaven and earth smelt. Therefore, he wasn't worried in the least bit. However, even if this were to carry on, nothing would change. Alright, since this is the case, yours truly will have to go all out against you guys. Lin Fan was feeling extremely upset. The losses that would follow were definitely going to be extremely costly. Mother**C king human king. If you get the hell out now, we can still spare your life. The voice of the evil alliance patriarch rang out. You're farting. You guys have got to be dreaming. Lin Fan scolded them. This time around, they had truly pushed him to the edge. HMPH, bloody insolent thing. The evil alliance patriarch scoffed. Patriarch, let's not waste any more time talking nonsense with him. We've got to hurry up and refine this. There are many dead ancient race beings here. Who knows if this may attract the utmost being of the ancient race over. The old master of the fox race said. Okay. At this moment, Lin Fan recalled something horrific as well. That was right, the utmost being of the ancient race might appear here. He had killed so many ancient race beings here. Not only that, He had a duel with the doppelganger of the utmost being 3 years back. Who knew whether that fella had the knowledge that he might be here right now? If he did, he might truly come over and have him killed personally. Old fogies, I'm sorry, seems like I can only have you guys sacrifice yourselves today. You had better blow up these 2 fellas. Sensing the aura of the 8 old fogies, Lin Fan ordered them. Self-destruct. The evil alliance patriarch and the old master of the fox race were busy refining at this moment. However, they suddenly sensed a horrifying aura that was encompassing the entire sky. Not good, they're going to self-destruct. Looking at the elderly figures who were guarding over all directions, the face of the old master of the fox race took a huge turn. Even though these guys were at the eternal god state, they did not have the equivalent strength to match. But with that said, if they were to self-destruct right now, it would be an entirely different story to tell. Has this human gone entirely bats-nuts? Every single powerful being who has cultivated up to an eternal god state had to undergo all sorts of trials and tribulations. Why would these old fogies here self-destruct? Hurry up and leave, don't stay here any longer. Otherwise, if these old fellas were to self-destruct, we might truly die here. Looking at how the 8 old fogies were going to self-destruct, the evil alliance patriarch and the old master of the fox race were scared shitless right now. They no longer had the same imposing demeanor as before. The self-destruction of an eternal god state being was nothing to be scoffed at. Their paradise, flesh and meat, universal elixir, etc. If all of these were to blow up, the impact would definitely be devastating. Go and explode. Boom. Instantly, the entire world began to vibrate intensely. The 8 old fogies blew themselves up just like that. The radius of the detonation was extremely wide and boundless. The scene right now was akin to a doomsday. That massive amount of energy rippled through the entire world. Even the void was tearing up layer by layer. Everything descended into a state of complete darkness. Even while he was hidden within the heaven and earth smelt, Lin Fan could feel the formidable amount of energy ramming itself against the walls of his smelt. If he hadn't been hiding within this place, he would have been disintegrated into ashes within a split second. You madman, those were the last words that Lin Fan heard while he was within the heaven and earth smelt. Following that, pure silence ensued. Could they be both dead? Lin Fan did not know how the situation was outside right now. However, he felt his heart clenching really tightly. Just like that, 8 powerful beings of an eternal god state were gone. It'd be useless if he were to just have one of them self-destruct. The radius of the explosion would be way too wide, and the other 7 would undoubtedly be implicated as well. Since that was the case, he might as well have all of them self-destruct. If that could have the evil alliance patriarch and the old master of the fox race dying because of it, then he wouldn't be making that much of a loss either. Everything should be fine now. Lin Fan snuck his way out of the heaven and earth smelt. So vicious. Looking at the scene outside, Lin Fan was shocked silly. The void was gone. Everything was totally dark. A breeze of a turbulent energy current blew by him, tugging at his body. The earth was gone. The skies were gone. Every single last thing had been annihilated. N-O-V-E in .c ohm. This. Lin Fan was speechless right now. This was the first time he saw the aftermath of an eternal god state being's self-destruction. Every single eternal god state powerful being treated their lives as a precious gem. How could they be willing to blow themselves up? That was because it's immensely difficult if one wanted to attain the eternal god state. It could be said to be calamitous in fact. Could the evil alliance patriarch and the old master of the fox race truly be dead just like this? Lin Fan swept the surroundings. However, he did not catch sight of any presence of the evil alliance patriarch and the old master of the fox race. But just at this moment, Lin Fan noticed something at the far reaches of the void. A mess of blood and flesh was rumbling furiously, as though it was trying to make its escape. Also, this mess of blood and flesh was howling in a maddened rage as well. Patriarch, you beast, how dare you use me as a shield? This mess of blood and flesh belonged to the old master of the fox race. The moment when the 8 old fogies were about to self-destruct, the evil alliance patriarch and the old master of the fox race were scared beyond their wits. Instantly, they delved into the void to escape. However, how scary of a thing was a self-destruction of an eternal god state being? In order to ensure his own safety, the evil alliance patriarch seized an opportunity when the old master of the fox race was distracted and slapped him out ahead to serve as a blockade against the aftershock of the explosion. Beast, you're truly a beast. The old master of the fox race was howling madly right now. Just this one move has caused him to lose quite a bit of essence from his body. The half-crippled body of the old master of the fox race had already made his escape. This mess of blood and flesh was the only thing he left behind here. However, this mess of blood and flesh still possessed a part of the boundless powers of the old master of the fox race. Lin Fan naturally could not let this go. Haha, old master of the fox race. To think that an old geezer like you would still leave something behind for me. Realizing that this mess of flesh and blood belonged to the old master of the fox race, Lin Fan was delighted. It wasn't as though he could possibly lose out to this mess of blood and flesh right now, could he? Even though this was just a mess of blood and flesh, this piece of meat contained a portion of that infinite strength the old master of the fox race possesses. If he were to be able to refine this, it would be pretty decent as well. Chapter 658, We're all beasts. Chapter 658, We're all beasts. Yo my little old master here, what's up with you? Lin Fan was gloating at his misfortune right now. He knew that the old master of the fox race had already made his escape. However, he still left a huge piece of a mess behind nevertheless. This gigantic piece of meat definitely contained at least 30% of the old master's powers. Losing this piece of meat would definitely be a huge blow to the old master of the fox race and hurt his essence chi. If he didn't have some godly utmost treasure to devour in place of it, it would take him at least 1,000 years to recover from this. You beast. At this moment, the old master of the fox race was extremely infuriated in his heart. The backstabbing of the evil alliance patriarch has already caused him to be heavily damaged. And now, he was discovered by this little scumbag here. If he didn't make a choice, this piece of meat here would just be a bloody good bargain for this scumbag. Actually, you're right in calling me a beast. All of us from the thousands of races started out as beasts in our primordial states. In fact, we are just like you. You were from the fox race, so you must have started out as a fox too. Now, do you think you were a beast then? Lin Fan accepted it calmly without getting angry at all. Even though he couldn't see how angry the old master of the fox race must look in a huff right now, he could imagine it on his own. After all, if something as such had happened to anyone, they would probably be in the same emotional state right now. This was especially the case for someone as strong as the old master of the fox race. Losing a big piece of his body which possessed so much of his essence, what sort of a great loss that must be. If his luck weren't good enough, he might not even get to recover from this point forth. By then, he would probably be one of the bottom feeders among the eternal god state beings. Who knew, he might not even be comparable to those 8 old fogies. The old master of the fox race's wrath was burning wildly right now. That blood-red piece of meat began to expand rapidly. All of a sudden, 2 tiny red arms grew out of that piece of meat. You can go to hell. The old master of the fox race had lost it by now. In the blink of an eye, he used up hundreds of skills as a formidable amount of energy surged out at Lin Fan. Even if this were a piece of meat, a meat had to have the dignity of a meat. Seems like someone's getting all angry and all, Even though I can't defeat your original body, how overbearing can a piece of meat get? Come, your mother *C King shall stand here and let you whack me. If you can whack me till I puke out blood I'll let you off. Lin Fan chuckled out, not bothered in the least bit. His physical body state was that of a divine celestial level 8, universal elixir state. How could he be walloped upside down by a piece of meat? That was undoubtedly just a joke. Heaven tunneling secret art. At this moment, the bloody piece of meat of the old master of the fox race began to rumble. It tunneled straight into the void, wanting to get out of this place. Wanna escape? What a pity. That's not going to happen. Lin Fan tossed out his hand casually and grabbed the bloody piece of the meat out of the void. Not bad, you're pretty heavy. Seems like this is a pretty decent loss for you, But then again, that's strange. You're the one injured and not the evil alliance patriarch. You couldn't have been used by that evil alliance patriarch now, could you? Lin Fan sniggered out. You be ****. While the old master of the fox race was howling madly, he knew that Lin Fan was right on the mark. Not only had he gotten nothing out of this trip, he had even taken in such a huge loss. Damn that evil alliance patriarch. He swore that he would never let him off from this day forth. Seems like you've really been FCKED up by that evil alliance patriarch, What a pitiful old soul you are, old master of the fox race. Even the sight of you right now is causing my heart to break into pieces. Lin Fan giggled out. Even though this piece of meat was pretty huge, it was not enough to compensate him for his losses. He had expended 200 million Shengyang pills just like that, And all 8 of his divine celestial level 10, eternal God state fighters were gone. This was really one incident to set him back a long way. But then again, the treasures he got out of it this time around were pretty decent. Not only had he swallowed a battle thorn, he had even gotten a treasure which could strike at one's spirits, the Green Hell Ancient Clock. Oh, yes, that so-called good item that was mentioned by Grandmaster Yun was there as well. It was just that he did not know what it was just yet. However, he would make sure to check it out properly later on. Stop struggling now, you're not going to get out of it either way. The piece of meat from the old master of the fox race was repeatedly struggling within Lin Fan's hands, trying to break free. However, he was being gripped tightly by Lin Fan so badly he couldn't move at all. Mother *** Sea King Human King, let's take it that I was the one in the wrong this time around. Let me go and I swear that I, the old master of the fox race, will never ever seek you out for revenge. Not only that, I'm willing to give you treasures as compensation as well. The old master of the fox race began to beg out to Lin Fan. This piece of meat was truly important. If he were to lose it, the losses would be unimaginable. What do you mean we'll take it that you're in the wrong? You were in the wrong from the beginning, all right. Lin Fan replied casually. Oh, yes, you're right, it was me who was in the wrong. Let us forget about the discord from the past, shall we? You shall remain as an esteemed guest in the fox race for all of eternity. How about that? The old master of the fox race said calmly as though he was earnestly trying to discuss with Lin Fan. However, he was filled with hatred in his heart right now. He hated the evil alliance patriarch. He hated this mother ** Sea King Human King before his eyes as well. If he hadn't had that bunch of old guards blowing themselves up, things wouldn't have ended up like this. Everything, every single thing right now was created by this mother ** Sea King Human King. Even though you've admitted your mistake, I'm afraid that that won't do. I've spent such a long time talking to you that I'm even getting a little hungry now. I suppose I'll just have to use this lump of meat you have right here to make some blood dumplings to satiate my hunger. Lin Fan replied. Are you truly not going to let me off? The old master of the fox race yelled out. Hungry, who was he trying to kid? Ho ho, my dear little old master here, have you really lived your life for naught? Do you honestly think that I'm going to let you off at this juncture? Lin Fan mocked coldly. Instantly, Lin Fan wielded the eternal axe in his hands. The tip of the eternal axe was sharp, shining with a godly glow. Mother ** King Human King. You're going to die a horrible death. The fox race is going to take you as a sworn enemy. The old master of the fox race held out in a frenzy. Alright, hunt me however you wish to, alright. Yours truly here can endure it. Initially, I thought that all the beings of the thousands of races were living a really pitiful life. But to think that the fox race would have a powerful being such as yourself who refuses to fight against the ancient race. This is really your own undoing, you know. Seems like I can only depend on myself for my great ambitions of overthrowing the ancient race. Don't worry now, I'll head over to the fox race personally. You've just got to prepare your stuff to welcome me by then. By now, Lin Fan had an epiphany of his own. It wasn't that the beings of the thousands of races couldn't cut it. It was just that there wasn't anyone willing to work together. This powerful old master of the fox race, for example, everything he did was for his personal gains. If this were the case, how could they possibly stand up against the ancient race? All slice. With that, the eternal axe shone brightly. A chop after another, they landed on that lump of meat of the old master of the fox race. Ah! The old master of the fox race screamed out in pain. Every single cut of the axe was akin to his own physical body being cut. The pain was incomparable. Before long, that lump of meat was turned into minced meat. The minced meat gave off a godly presence as the powers within it glistened in a sparkly manner, possessing a great amount of energy to them. Little beast, you'll definitely have a horrendous death. I swear that you'll have it. The old master of the fox race wailed out in anguish. However, there was nothing he could do to stop this at all. The old master of the fox race was a powerful being of divine celestial level 10, eternal God state. Since when had he ever endured such humiliation, ever? To think that a part of his body would be mistreated as such by a human. His heart was filled with an endless wrath. N-O-V-E in .c ohm. At this moment, Lin Fan cast his sights into the distance. From there was an aura gushing forth. This aura was a little familiar. Alright, I'm not gonna play with you any longer. The utmost being of the ancient race is here. Without panicking, Lin Fan collected the minced meat made out of the old master of the fox race and kept it within his paradise. Stealth. Earth tunneling. Lin Fan retracted his aura and delved deep underground, hiding himself from the world entirely. With the concealment of the system, no one in this entire world could ever discover him. That was right, even if it were the utmost being of the ancient race, he was not going to be able to find him either. Chapter 659. The second utmost being, Saint. Chapter 659. The second utmost being, Saint. Not long after Lin Fan went into hiding, a figure appeared in the sky above. Looking at the shattered void in the surrounding, this figure went into a mad rage. Living beings of the thousands of races. The utmost being, Cruel, was hopping with rage right now. He had not expected his entire army to perish here. In fact, even his 3 sovereign kings had fallen. No, vel, b, in c, ohm. Who was it? Who was it? At the moment his sovereign kings died, he felt a slight little pull at the depths of his heart. Heavens, will time flow reversal. The utmost being, Cruel, yelled out these 5 words. Suddenly, the void began to vibrate. An image instantly appeared before the face of the utmost being, Cruel. The moment he caught sight of the happenings on the screen, he could no longer contain himself as he screamed out. It's you again, Mother *ckking human king. The utmost being, Cruel, would never be able to forget this figure. This damned human cost him one of his essence spirit doppelgangers. This man deserved death. Where have you gone to? Where have you gone to? All of a sudden, the consciousness of the utmost being, Cruel, spread out as a gigantic net, trying to seek out that damned fella. However, he could not find anything in return. Cruel, what's going on around your area these days? Just at this moment, a figure wearing a bronze-colored mask tore through the void and appeared before Cruel. This person was draped in a dark golden long robe. On the back of this long robe was a big word emblazoned. Saint, what are you doing in my district? Cruel looked at this person who had arrived warily, evidently somewhat displeased. Hey, the figure giggled out. This giggle was extremely sinister. In fact, there was even a trace of killing intent hidden within it. Remember, this is the first and shall be the last time you will use that tone with me. The next time you try it again, there will be consequences you will get to understand. Why you? Cruel's face was extremely grim right now, but did not say anything more. Now, I don't care about what's happening in your district to be honest, but I do hope that you get it settled as soon as possible. The barrier to the infinite worlds is about to open up once more. The ancient saint world will need to replenish our core with it once more. I do not wish to see what happened with the ancient one repeat itself with you, getting himself invaded by the primordial demons of the overworld and resulting in his death in the hands of a bunch of ants, all because of a moment of carelessness. Saint remarked coldly. Understood. Cruel nodded his head. You had better. With that, Saint disappeared from the world in the blink of an eye. B*FCK. Cruel's heart was burning with wrath right now. However, there was nothing he could do about it. It was all a matter of strength. Out of the 8 utmost beings of the ancient race, he was the weakest. Mother *king human king, I swear that I'll have you killed. That holler rang out across the world. Hidden in a deep abyss underground, Lin Fan's back was filled with sweat. Perspiration dripped down profusely from his forehead as big drops. At that moment, he had sensed an extremely powerful aura appear right above his head. Even though that ancient aura wasn't emanated out intently, just that bit of it which seeped out of him was enough to cause Lin Fan's heart to palpitate. What a horrifying aura! Just who in the world was that? Lin Fan knew that that aura could not have belonged to Cruel. However, Lin Fan regained his sense of self before long. Gripping his fists tightly, he was filled with confidence. Even though it was strong, yours truly wasn't afraid. The more repressing it was, the more motivated he would be. He was someone with a system in his hands. From here on forth, he must definitely grow to be an unparalleled existence. This was the time now for him to start training up properly. Once the time was ripe, he would then head forth for another good round of brazenness. Paradise of the fox race. The old master of the fox race was fraught with injuries right now. His face was pale as a sheet. The moment he appeared, he sealed up his paradise entrance immediately. Turning into a speck of dust, he floated within that dimension. Damned fella, how dare you treat me as such? Once I'm done healing up, I'll definitely have you pay the price. The old master of the fox race yelled out. Evil Alliance Patriarch, you had better wait for me as well. From here on forth, as long as it's someone from the Evil Alliance, this old man here is going to have them all killed. No one shall be spared. What the Evil Alliance Patriarch had done was causing the old master of the fox race to feel incensed. Beasts. All of them were beasts. No, this can't carry on. I've got to search for some godly utmost treasure. Otherwise, who knows how long it'll take for me to recover. The old master of the fox race started thinking. Colossal dragon race, rock race, phoenix race, Tuntai race, Hundun race, Chongqi race. The top 10 old ancient beast races are all ferocious in their own rights. However, they're all objects of great nutrients. If I want to recover as soon as possible, I've got to devour their essence blood to boost my own body. At this moment, the old master of the fox race was ready to tread on a dangerous path. After all, fortune lied in the midst of dangers. If he wanted to recover faster, this seemed to be the only way out now. However, he still had to consider about which race he should hunt out first. Ever since the Evil Alliance patriarch got out of the place, he was having reservations of his own as well. The power that was produced by the self-destruction of 8 divine celestial level 10, eternal God state beings was definitely earth-shattering. If he didn't make his escape then, the only thing left of him would have been a mess of his meat and blood. No, he would even have that left of him. It was one thing to be able to take them down, but another to be able to withstand the power of their self-destruction. Mother *C King Human King, just where in the world did you seek out those eternal God state powerful beings from? In the end, even that old master of the fox race geezer managed to escape. However, he received quite a severe injury and should be nestled up in recuperation right now. If I were to head over and kill him right now, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. An eternal God state powerful being who's severely injured. His physical body must be filled with all sorts of essences. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared from where he was and headed forth to look for the old master of the fox race. He knew that the vendetta had been set. Even if he didn't go and find the old master of the fox race now, the other party would definitely hunt him down after he was done recuperating. Since that was the case, he might as well take the upper hand and make the first move now. Underground abyss. Lin Fan sat down cross-legged, completely immersed in his paradise. Right now, the powers in his paradise were thick and dense. They had entered a brand new world once more. 13,000 living beings were walking around his paradise. Each and every single breath taken by these living beings possessed an immense amount of powers to them. This was equivalent to having 13,000 divine celestial level 5, essence spirit state powerful beings who were breathing and huffing out powers within Lin Fan's paradise. If anyone else were to find out about this, they would definitely be shocked to death. This relentless amount of power was Lin Fan's greatest assurance. Master, I feel that I'm lacking just that last opportunity before I will enter the mysterious beyond mysterious state of an utmost treasure. The big ancient demon appeared before Lin Fan, saying. Right now, the aura of the big ancient demon was substantially strong, as the scales on his body shone with a ghastly gleam. It was way more lustrous than before. Every single scale seemed as though it contained a world on its own, possessing an endless amount of powers. Right now, we're only lacking the element of wood among the connate 5 elements. If all 5 elements were to fuse together and work as one, it would be time for you to evolve. Lin Fan knew what the big ancient demon was lacking. Once all 5 elements were gathered, he would definitely be able to bring forth even more powers. By then, entering the ranks of an utmost treasure would just be a single step. He would enter the state of being godly, a state which countless treasures could only hope to be in. At that moment, the demon city would be able to unleash its true powers. What happened to that piece of meat from the old master of the fox race? Lin Fan asked. Master, the piece of meat from the old master of the fox race is still resisting stubbornly. Casting his glance over, Lin Fan caught sight of the flesh from the old master of the fox race floating silently. Even though it was just minced meat now, it still possessed a tremendous amount of energy nevertheless. A figure of a red 9-tailed fox howled out. With a single growl of it pushed back countless weapon spirits. In fact, even the tree branches of the mythical parasol tree were destroyed by it. HMPH. To think that you would still want to fight back at this moment. Suppress. Arg. This old master is absolutely indignant. Mother *CKING Human King. You'll have a terrible death. Chapter 660. Essence Spirit Secret Skill. Chapter 660. Essence Spirit Secret Skill. Lin Fan slapped out with his palm, bringing forth rumbling powers. Converting into a skill spirit, it suppressed down the flesh and blood of the old master of the fox race entirely with ease. Thousands of dense and thick tree branches from the mythical parasol tree shot forth and pierced the mess of flesh and blood. A piece of meat that wishes to fight the heavens. God, what a fool's dream. If you want to kill me, Lin Fan, you've got to be ready to pay the price for it. Lin Fan scolded out as he started to receive the channeling of energy from that piece of meat. As a powerful being of divine celestial level 10, eternal God state, the old master of the fox race possessed an immense amount of power in his body. Every single piece of flesh could be said to contain a world of its own. Within them, their powers rumbled furiously as every single cell could manifest out into a dragon of power. A powerful being as such was someone one could only meet through fate. If one could kill even one of them, one would have lucked out immensely. Even though those elderly figures he had subdued earlier on were all eternal God state beings as well, if Lin Fan were to compare them with the old master of the fox race, they were practically worlds apart. To put it into a better perspective, both the old master of the fox race and the old fogies were akin to a vast sea of their own. However, the amount of seawater they possessed were a world of difference. Ding. Experience points plus 100,000 feet. Ding. Experience points plus 100,000 feet. ... This is really pleasurable indeed. To think that refining this piece of meat here would already provide him with these many experience points. If he could kill the whole being entirely, wouldn't that be beyond crazy? However, Lin Fan knew that he mustn't needlessly chase after such things. At the same time, the burden of turning strong was being felt by Lin Fan once more. He had realized that he had been too naive for a long time now. At the start, he had thought that Krul was already pretty darn strong. To think that there would be someone stronger than him. The 8 utmost beings of the ancient race had never once changed. Other than the ancient one who had fallen, who knew what sort of old monsters those other 7 were, and how long they had existed so far. It would be impossible if he wanted to continue viewing them with the perspective set for a normal person. Bam, bam, suddenly, the weapon and skill spirits within the paradise let out exploding sounds of their own as they were undergoing some changes. It was as though the absorption of that meat earlier on was causing them to evolve. Doomsday Calamity God Fist, Nirvana Finger, all of these skills were changing one by one as every single skill god went through their own evolutions. Calamity, Calamity, Doomsday Calamity God Fist was a skill that was growing the fastest amongst them all. Perhaps this had something to do with the environment it was in right now. November LBJNN. For the beings of the thousands of races, the ancient saint world was a calamitous place in itself. Under this sort of aura, the Doomsday Calamity God Fist was receiving plenty of calamitous chi being emanated from everyone in the surroundings, growing consistently. Boom! A figure of a Doomsday God stood around several hundreds of thousand feet tall. His feet were standing atop a pitch-black python while his hands were wielding the winds and flames of disasters. His entire being was surrounded by a chi of destruction. A pair of black gazing eyes looked down on the masses, repressing the other skill spirits so direly that they could barely raise their heads. Calamity God, that's about enough. Don't go overboard now. The spirit of Bigra felt his eyelids twitching, evidently somewhat displeased. This Calamity God was being pretty insolent, seemingly going overboard by causing the other skill spirits to huff out heavily with deep breaths. Big brother, I'm sorry. Seems like I got a little excited earlier on. The Calamity God's eyes were domineering and filled with destructive powers. However, at this moment, he looked down at the spirit of Bigra and bowed his head down, apparently in fear. Good. The spirit of Bigra nodded his head in acknowledgement silently. Out of all the skills, the spirit of Bigra reigned supreme after all. Lin Fan did not put such things to heart at all. He now cast his sights over at the stone sculpture from the Battle Emperor sect. Grand Master Yun had sneakily told him that this was a treasure. If he had said so, this must definitely be a treasure then. And, it was evident that Grand Master Yun himself had the intentions for Lin Fan to take this away. Hence, he did not leave it back for the Battle Emperor sect. How could these intents escape the astute observations of Lin Fan? Ding! Congratulations on discovering stone sculpture of Battle Emperor's true body. Battle Emperor's true body stone sculpture, able to craft into a third essence spirit. To think that it would be something like this. Lin Fan was filled with glee right now. This was something he did not expect. If this were in the past, Lin Fan would definitely not have known about its mythical usage. However, ever since he had read through all the ancient records within the Cloud sect, he was now extremely familiar with all sorts of utmost treasures out there. The moment one reached a divine celestial level 5, essence spirit state, they would be able to craft out a second essence spirit of their own. This essence spirit could grow together with the original body, turning stronger over time. If the original body were strong, the second essence spirit would be strong as well. Now, for most people, if they couldn't find any strong treasures in their lifetime, they would most probably be stuck at the state of the second essence spirit. However, if they could find an utmost treasure, they could make use of it to craft out their third essence spirit. And, this Battle Emperor's true body stone sculpture seemed just right for a third essence spirit. However, this was an important treasure of the universe. Even within the ancient saint world, it would be hard to find something like this. To think that Grandmaster Yun would actually let Lin Fan have it instead of keeping it for himself. That was something Lin Fan could not have imagined. Grandmaster Yun, you're a great man indeed. This gratitude is something I will note down and remember. Lin Fan said gratefully. Essence Spirit Split. The third essence spirit, cultivate. Lin Fan communicated with his second essence spirit. Splitting his consciousness into 3 parts, they began to converse with themselves. Infusing powers within, Lin Fan grabbed out at the empty void before him with a claw-like grip. Countless dragons of power surged out as they dove into that stone sculpture. And just at this moment, Lin Fan could feel his spirits rattling. The moment they entered this stone sculpture, a consciousness burst forth from it. I am the Battle Emperor. I am the god and ancestor of the Tao of Battle. This consciousness manifested into the shape of a man. This man stood tall and upright between the world, with an extremely sharp aura. Even though it was just a strain of its consciousness, it bore an expression that was ever so domineering. You're the will of the Battle Emperor. That's right. If you wish to turn your majesty into your third essence spirit, we'll just have to see if you've got what it takes. The Battle Emperor replied in a solemn tone without the slightest bit of anger. Holy FCK, Lin Fan had not expected that there would be a test. Unable to contain himself, he struck out immediately, sending a fist over to the head of the Battle Emperor. Flashy without substance, you've got the momentum, but no strength to back it up. Your Majesty here has a heavenly imbued indestructible and relentless body. The Battle Emperor roared out as his entire body shone with a golden glow. Bam, what? Your Majesty was defeated just like that. What the fuck is this sh*T? Is this retarded? Lin Fan held on to the 9-5 legendary brick in his hand and shook his head helplessly. Initially, Lin Fan had wanted to suppress this guy down with just a single punch. To think that this would be so egoistic that he would start churning his own physical body state, intending to take on Lin Fan's blow head-on. Under these circumstances, if Lin Fan did not use the 9-5 legendary brick still, wouldn't he be a fool then? Instantly, the will of the Battle Emperor dissipated, and his powers started flowing out unobstructed and endlessly. At this point, Lin Fan could sense the connection of his aura to another bloodline. Third essence spirit, cultivate, Lin Fan cried out loudly. The Battle Emperor's true body stone sculpture opened its eyes suddenly, shooting a bright light out of it. Its facial expression started shifting and changing, until eventually, it looked exactly like Lin Fan. Even its aura was the same as Lin Fan now. Divine Celestial Level 5, Essence Spirit State. Haha, not bad, not bad. Seems like I've got 2 Essence Spirits now. Lin Fan was elated right now. Ding, congratulations on cultivating out your third Essence Spirit. Ding, congratulations on my owner for being so great. Ta-da, a reward of an Essence Spirit secret skill, Superfusion. Holy FCK, it's been a long time since I've seen something such as a reward and the likes. Lin Fan knew that the system would reward him from time to time. However, it had been a long time since the previous reward that he had received. To think that he would receive this Essence Spirit secret skill just by cultivating out his third Essence Spirit. This was pretty decent indeed. Ding, discovered Essence Spirit secret skill, Superfusion. Learn. Of course, he had to learn this. This was definitely some method to strengthen himself. How could he not learn it at all? But the moment he learned it, Lin Fan's expression changed immediately, turning pretty exasperated. This type of fusion, holy FCK,